Good day. How we looking? The Bill Michaels Show. We are live. We are here in Marinette, Wisconsin, at the Lodge, and got here last night. Had a great time. Had a good dinner. Saw Sean and the gang. Made my way around town a little bit. And today we're here to kind of kick off the Blues Brews and BBQs, which is going to be happening this weekend here in the area, which is always a good time. And it's a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, we're going to get a little blues later on today in the program. And if you want to give us a shout, you can, 877-867-1670. You can also text us, 608-321-1670. You can track us down there. You can also find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You can watch and subscribe absolutely free over there. You can find us on Twitter, on X, @Bill_Michaels, @Bill_Michaels. And Grant, Wisco Grant, @Wisco Grant. You can find him there as well. Going to talk some Packers football today. Going to hear from the coordinators today. Going to hear from Rich Bisaccia. You're going to hear from Jeff Hafley today. Mike Clemens is going to be joining us in the last hour of the program. Mike up in Green Bay, getting ready for the game coming up on Sunday. The Packers hosting the Carolina Panthers. That's going to be a noon kickoff, by the way. And a reminder, we're going to be at Burkle's Sports Bar and Grill. We always are for the Green and Gold postgame show after the fact, so come on over and say hi there. We've also got our buddy Dick Jerardi is going to be joining us today. We'll talk a little horse racing, and then, like I said, we might even have a little blues being played for us later on today as well. If you want to get a hold of us on the platforms, it's Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can follow us there. We always appreciate it when you do. I can't believe how many people saw the video last night, walking around town and doing a couple of different places. I was over at the shipyard yesterday. Last night, I should say. I stopped at Mickey Lou's last night, down at Q-Shack's last night, here at the Lodge last night. Just kind of walking down the streets and talking a little bit about being here in Marinette, because it's our first time back in probably a decade, I think. Pretty long time. Congratulations to the Marines, by the way. Their season came to an end, but they had a better football season this year, and the Maroons are still in it. They're actually playing tonight at home over here in Menominee, so which is a real just across the bridge, hop and a skip. So you've got high school football here tonight going on. So again, a lot of cool stuff happening here. Grant Bills, how you doing today down there in the great state of Wisconsin over in Madison?
Yeah, I'm doing great. There's so much free food in the building. I'm not going to have to eat that until Sunday. We have a concert downstairs and a potluck later today, so I'm doing great.
What is it?
Springsteen cover?
Shut up.
Evo's being he's not even drinking.
Now, I didn't hear the end of the conversation yesterday. Was he a Springsteen fan or a non-Springsteen fan?
Evo's right here.
Okay.
Springsteen fan or no?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Well, you didn't. I could have just said that. You didn't need to crack the mic just to say that.
Just not for me. Boomer rock. No thanks.
Yeah. Okay. But you know what? There's a lot of good boomer rock out there. I mean, that was the era of the supergroups, for God's sakes. Back when they packed stadiums and arenas and had massive stage presence, and that was when they actually played music and not synthesized it.
Self-righteous, I'm better than you, boomer.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. No, okay, I can understand that. Because there's a lot of, I was gonna say, there's a lot of good bands that are out there, but yeah, no, I get what you're saying now regarding the Springsteen stuff. Yeah. Okay. Because I'm thinking, man, you had massive groups. You had Led Zeppelin back then, you had The Who back then, you had guys in the Styx and REO Speedwagon and Springsteen, and I mean, you just go through the list of major bands, and some of them, you know, still playing today, and they're still packing. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. So okay, Queen was another big one, going back to the boomer rock, because Queen got together. Really, I think they started kicking it off in the '70s, and then really became massive in the '80s, and then obviously with Freddie Mercury passing away, that was pretty much the end of it. Yeah, that was Queen was another big one, big massive super group that hit it big. There you have it. We're off to a roaring start. Anything else we got coming up today, Grant, that I missed off the top of your head?
Let's see, Jerardi.
Yeah.
Mike Clemens.
Right.
Updates from Marinette. I don't know if I'm giving updates. I want you to paint a picture of what's going on there.
It is. They got all kinds of things going on, and Marinette, Visit Marinette is going to be a sponsor for a while. But the big one that they're kicking it off with is the Blues Brews BBQs, and basically the cool thing about here is coming into the town. Now, I haven't been here, like I said, in a decade, and it's grown so much. There's more stores, there's more shops. They've obviously gotten some big. The Naval Yard is a massive employer up here, and I don't know if you've ever been here, Grant, but you were at the Menominee, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you were here in Menominee.
Mostly passing through driving.
Okay, so you were through here. So the shipyard is like the big industry up here, and I know right now they're making 4 ships for the Saudi Arabia government for their military, but they make a lot of the U.S. Navy ships up here as well. And as a matter of fact, the USS Milwaukee was made up here, and I was here for that years back. But it's grown so much, and the thing about it is they've got so many contracts and so many workers that they're hiring, is that the one thing that's a scarcity up here is housing. They got a lot of, they're building apartments, but as far as single-family homes, they don't have a lot of that. They continue to expand the area, though. But it's grown. They've got wine shops, tea shops, bars in every corner, things to do. But then they're putting in festivals, much like this festival that's coming up this weekend that we're just kind of kicking off here today. They've got the boat races. Have you ever seen hydroplane races?
Oh, yeah.
Hydroplane. I go back to down in Madison, and not Madison, Wisconsin, but down in Madison, Indiana, Madison, Ohio. They used to have the hydroplane races back then, and that's when the Miss Budweiser boat was huge. The infamous picture with the 3 girls laying across it, where they had their bikinis or their swimsuits perfectly positioned so it spelled Budweiser across the front of the boat. They were laying on the boat, and the Miss Budweiser boat was like it. You came down to see that, and all the other boats they had. Valvoline boats and all the different oil companies and motor companies and Yamaha boats and everything. But they're the hydroplane race. They're doing that up here. They've got that coming up here, I believe, in June or July is going to be this year. So we're going to be advertising that. We might even come back to that. But they got a huge fishing tournament, which I figured that'd be right up your alley because they got huge fishing tournaments up here as well. So there's a lot that goes on up here that doesn't get promoted throughout the state nearly enough. So that's what we're going to do. We're kind of like we're our own version of tourism in the state of Wisconsin. God knows we travel it enough, right? Right?
I will actually be leaving Wisconsin, not very far, but I'll be on the Minnesota side.
Oh, for the weekend? I thought you meant you were leaving me. Why didn't I hear about
that? No.
You scared the hell out of me for a minute.
Yeah, you would be the first to know. That's the case.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's everything that's kind of going on up here. And like I said, we're going to be joined a little bit later on by one of the Blues Hall of Famers. I hope he brings his guitar and at least plays it, because otherwise he's just hanging out. We wouldn't know who he is without a guitar. It's like, right? It's like a radio guy. You just walk around with a microphone. I know who you are. I keep a microphone in my face, always in my pocket. So,
how we looking?
That's it. There you go. Packers this weekend. The discussion is, what do you need to see, and/or when you look at it, what for the Green Bay Packers to be successful, they need to blank. And the mass difference of opinions is stark. People talk about domination. People talk about more of a run game. People are talking about more of a passing game, better play calling. LaFleur has to, call a full game. Jordan Love has to be good for a full game. The defense has to play that. Everybody's got an opinion. The consensus seems to be, though, especially in driving around this morning, I was listening to a few things, but the consensus seems to be like this is a team that's right there, and everybody's waiting for them to take off. Does that make sense? Like it's right there. You need to put it all together, and people are just waiting for this whole thing to finally come together. And I think that's the reason while this window is open, is the reason that the timing was right for the Michael Parsons deal. But it seems like everybody's just kind of waiting for this thing to just go, and then all of a sudden the Packers are indeed like the team to beat, because everybody expects it to kind of be there. So I don't know if I'm going to see it in this game, because you and I talked about the spread. I picked the Packers to win, but I picked Carolina to cover, and I'm going to stick with that, by the way. So I know you and I talked yesterday, and I said, hey, maybe I'm going to reserve the right to change my mind at some point. I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to hang with that, because I guess I can't. You and I do a lot of the same stuff where we'll think something and we wait for it to happen, and it doesn't happen, but we keep waiting for it to happen. So until it happens and they blow somebody out, I'm going to keep saying I'll go with the under and I'll give the points until they don't need to get me anymore. And then you just are talking about a team that can blow them out on a consistent basis when it comes to covering the spread. But I don't know. I'm thinking get a win, yes, but do you need style points in this game going into the Philadelphia game? And that's the question. Do you need style points?
I need more style points in this game than maybe I would have needed against the Bengals.
Yeah.
At home, coming off of 3 really, it feels like they've been building right over the last month between the Bengals, the Cardinals. It feels like it's building. I would really love their first big time exclamation point wins.
Yeah. I'm hoping for it. I think we're both on the same page on that. I just don't know if I could say I'm going to put my money, because it hasn't been anything that we've seen on a consistent basis. But that's kind of where I think the consensus is. Like, this is one of those games where they should win it. They should win it going away. It shouldn't be any kind of a nail biter. And most people that want to get home early on a Sunday, catch 3/4 of the game, go, okay, this one's pretty much over. I'm going to take off and go see the show over at Burke's. And that's hopefully that's what people do. But that's kind of the consensus. And I know we've talked a little bit, and we're going to hear from the coordinators, obviously, coming up today as well. But the run game, to me, depending on what's going on with and how bad the calf injury is, obviously, to Josh Jacobs, the run game to me is where this weekend, this is now the third week in a row that they've completed where the offensive line has been together. So now they're out of the preseason mode of all playing together. Now they know. So to me, this is the game where the run game, you need to get it going. I know Carolina's decent against the run, but this is where if you can get it going against a team that can somewhat stop the run, and you can get your run game going, you're going to feel a whole lot better about a balanced attack for this team moving forward, especially as Josh Jacobs continues to get healthy. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, Brandon, on the way up, and you and I got into a discussion about how Wilson looks so much better and so much quicker than Josh Jacobs did. And Josh Jacobs is more of a power runner anyway. So when you put him in stark contrast in his first year, when you looked at Josh Jacobs versus, say, Aaron Jones is like a water gun. You flip the light on, boom, he's off. And that's he's very, very quick. With Josh Jacobs, you got to give him a hole, and once he hits the hole, he can be off and running. So my point is, I don't think the calf muscle has been something that's deterred him from being quick. I think it deterred him from being powerful, if that makes sense. The drive in his legs, because I went back and I was watching some of these games last night. I got back to the hotel, and I just decided to scroll, just because I was doing a little bit of prep for today, and watching some of these games. And granted, Matt LaFleur is 100% correct. There's at times where he's got a quick shooter off the gap between the guard and the center, going off to the side of Sean Ryan, and it was just one of those didn't hold it long enough. And next thing you know, there's a guy that's got an arm around Josh Jacobs, when all he had to do was hold him just on the outside, just moving him over a little bit for just a second longer, and Josh Jacobs just threw a hole because you could see the second level wasn't there. The linebackers had shifted. They had gone over. They had followed the play action misdirection. They followed the misdirection. There was a hole, but one guy with one arm, that brought down the whole play, because all he did was snag him, and the next thing you know, the linebackers come back, they fill the backside, and you've got an edge rusher coming around the backside to grab him, and the next thing you know, it's only a 1-yard gain, which really was set up to be about a 9-yard gain. So what Matt LaFleur said about the attention to detail, 100% correct. I saw numerous. But I think that the calf muscle, more than anything, probably hinders him power running wise, and not being able to just kind of plow through people, because he's more of a north-south guy than some of the other rushers. And Wilson, I mean, when you look at him, he is quicker on the outside, and they were able to get outside against Pittsburgh. They were able to get outside the edge of Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh is pretty good defensively at bringing their guys upfield and setting an edge. And the Packers were pretty good about getting around the outside. So anyway, long story short is, I think this is where you want to get your run game going. If Josh Jacobs is close to healthy, this is where I would expect to see the more concentrated effort to the ball. So that's kind of where we're at. All right, we got all that coming up today. We got Jerardi's going to be joining us here in a little while. Mike Clemens in the last hour of the show. We're going to hear some blues coming up about an hour and 15 minutes from now. We've got Rich Bisaccia. We've got Jeff Halfley today, plus whatever else Mike Clemens is kind of drug out of the locker room. We are broadcasting live. We're at the Lodge here in Marinette, Wisconsin, which is a beautiful place. And I've never been here, as a matter of fact. It's got an homage to some workers I'll talk about coming up here in a little bit. We got a good crowd. They opened up early for us today, which is really nice. We appreciate that. And for those that are watching at home, there you go. There's some of the people that are joining us on site. But yeah, we're going to be here all afternoon, so swing by, say hello. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. Stay tuned. We'll be back coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Gotta go do my work.
Oh, okay.
Good to see you.
You too, Jim.
Next time.
Appreciate it, bud. Thanks.
But all that other aspect rather than being anything. Like the thing with that itself, they go ridiculous. Right. That's what I say. Yeah. I just played the game. I love it. He's just all the only guy. Briefly looked at his second because they both of the other. But unfortunately, he won.
Heading up to Lambeau Field this coming weekend, and if you're in the area down in Waukesha, stop by and check out Robert's Specialty Meats, the best tailgate fare that there is. That's for damn sure. Stop by, whether it's the alcohol roast, the ribs on the stick, the garlic farm chicken skewers, whatever it happens to be. It's our friends right there on Sunset Drive in Waukesha, Robert's Specialty Meats Waukesha. Your hometown butcher, always fantastic stuff. Fantastic. And if anybody's grilling that stuff up at the Lambeau, let me know where your tailgate party's at. Get there early. Stop over and say hi. And thanks again to our friends over there at Robert's Specialty. So I got this one from Dak, and Dak said, "Hey, do you think that Josh Jacobs should sit a week?" I heard you guys talking about it earlier this week. You know, Grant, you had talked about that. You thought, you know what, just go ahead and let him sit, and don't worry about him playing in this particular game. If indeed that thing is still ailing just a little bit. Now, I didn't happen to see yesterday, by any stretch of the imagination. Did you happen to see if he ended up, what the injury report was? As a matter of fact, I can pull it up here from yesterday. But did you happen to see anything?
I didn't look at the report. I know he practiced at least in a limited.
Yeah. I didn't see it, so I didn't go over it yesterday.
Josh Jacobs was limited.
He was limited. Okay, so he's still nursing that a little bit. Yeah, you know, it's tough because they only have one other backup. I mean, here's the thing. Would you dress him and not play him?
Don't they have Chris Brooks still?
They do?
Practice squad?
They do.
Like, he's in the organization somewhere, isn't he?
Right.
I thought they liked him as a third down back. And pass pro as a pass catcher. Like, I'm
Right.
perfectly fine running with Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks for me. I don't think that will hurt their ability to beat the Panthers.
The other thing to think about, too, coming into this game, remember Josh Jacobs a couple of weeks ago was sick. Now you've got Jordan Morgan, he was limited yesterday because he's sick. They've got kind of illness running through the team. There's a lot of bugs floating around out there right now, but some of these guys have been sick. And then you've got Quay Walker, who had the calf injury. He practiced on Wednesday. He was not listed on the injury report, and all of a sudden yesterday did not practice. He's got a calf injury as well. And then you've got Malik Willis, the backup quarterback, who all of a sudden finds himself on the injury report. He ended up rolling an ankle in practice, and he was limited yesterday. So they've got a few other changes. By the way, Brandon McManus was a full participant yesterday in practice, so they didn't limit him at all. So that's big. And I'll be up there on Sunday, obviously, before the game early, and kind of see what he's doing. And if they've got like the medical staff around to check. But I got to think that after playing in the game this past week, I got to think that, being a full participant in practice yesterday, I got to think that he's going to be back, and he's probably as close to 100% as you can be. So I figure he's going to be okay. But yeah, with the illness to Jordan Morgan and Quay Walker rolling or having a calf issue, Jordan Morgan not practicing or limited practicing, and then Quay Walker not practicing, you kind of go, okay, maybe there's a couple of things to be a little bit concerned about. But for the most part, coming into this game, they've got guys that are a little bit nicked up, but overall they're pretty healthy. I mean, the only guy that's really been down for any extended period of time is Reed, and that's it. Everybody else has been able to play, except for Devontae White was a couple of weeks, but now he's back and he's good to go. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he's on the injury report this week at all. And he is. He was limited yesterday with that knee issue, and they just kind of been taking it easy. But he played the entire game against Pittsburgh, so health-wise, they're actually pretty good. So I'm not too concerned about that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. You can find us there, and you can text us 608-321-1670. Michael in Green Bay says, do you think the social media and the instant gratification people get from things like scrolling the TikTok and YouTube could be one of the reasons fans today have no patience for the NFL and the rookie athletes? I can't believe how many fans are already going after Matthew Golden. The Matthew Golden thing is stupid for people to get upset, and I don't understand it. And it is a fast food world. We all know that. Everybody wants it now, out of the window, hot and fresh and perfect. Otherwise, they want to complain about it. But the one thing people don't understand is, what are they comparing it to? When you see people get mad, what are you comparing it to? You're comparing it to Ibuka? He's had a hell of a season, but there's only like one other wide receiver. Now without Mike Evans, there's nobody. So there was only one other wide receiver there, and they've got a decent tight end, but not a great tight end. When you start your season out with Reed and Dobbs and Wicks and Heath and Musgrave and Jacobs and Tucker Kraft, who's just emerged into being one of the best tight ends in football, and oh, by the way, then you're Matthew Golden as a rookie coming in. How many times did you want him to throw him the football? And that was what Matt LaFleur was saying the other day at the presser, when he was saying, well, how many attempts would you like to see him get? And everybody just kind of shut up, because how many balls are you going to throw to him? And if you do, are you then taking it away from Tucker Kraft and Josh Jacobs? And that's the thing. When back in the day, when you go to 2010, when you had Jordy, and the next year you had Randall Cobb in the mix, but you had Jordy, you had Don, you had James, you had Greg Jennings, you had Jermichael Finley. You had guys that could get open on almost any time. Plus, they were all really good, and you didn't have anybody complain about not getting the football. Nobody was complaining about getting the football. And then you add in Randall Cobb the next year to one of the most potent offenses that it already was, but became even more significant after that. Nobody complained, because you just knew the high tide raised all ships, that as long as, say, the concentration one week was going to be on Romeo Dobbs, well, that means it was going to leave Matthew Golden and Tucker Kraft and everybody else wide open. Or if they concentrate on Tucker Kraft, then it's going to leave other guys open, because there's only so many defensive backs to cover so many guys going out. Matthew Golden's going to get his time, but he's going to learn two things along the way. One is how to be a really good route runner. That's the first thing. And the second thing is how to be able to have technique to get off of blocks or get off of a defender to be able to get open. And once you learn the technique with the speed that he has, he'll get in the football. It's just a matter of time. But I don't know why people are going after. Put it this way: if he only has 4 targets, and that's what's called for him. Now, there may be a couple other plays along the way that have his number called, that he might be the primary and he might not be open. But I have not seen anything on film that would tell me Matthew Golden is not a good wide receiver. There's just things that are designed for Dobbs in down and distance situations. There's things that are designed for Tucker Kraft in down and distance situations. And those guys have really sure hands. Not to say that Matthew Gold doesn't. It's just he's coming into his own. But I do not understand at all the people that are getting on Matthew Gold by any stretch of the imagination. And have you seen some of the stuff that people have kind of gone after him on, Grant, by any chance?
Yeah, I haven't seen people going after Matthew Golden. I've seen people complaining that the Packers don't use him because I think a lot of the data is he's open. It's like Tavian Wicks is open, like the separation.
Right.
Up there with some of the best separating and running wide receivers in football. He just hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities. And the thing about him is when he does get opportunities, it's on a jet sweep or a little bubble screen. And that's not his game. He's not a gadget guy. He's a legitimate, bona fide downfield wide receiver.
The other thing, and I agree with you about him being open, and he'll continue to get better at that. But I think there are some plays that he's the secondary, and he's the guy that's open. The primary, which is where Jordan Love will go to, is a primary call for a Dobbs or a Wicks or a Reed or a Kraft or whatever, and that's where and they're open too. They'll go to him. There's a couple of times where I've seen Matthew Gold open where, they just didn't catch it in time and they ended up throwing the ball away or ended up becoming an incomplete pass. But I don't know why people are getting on Gold. That's what I don't understand. And so it's a good question for Michael from Green Bay, but I'll tell you this, Michael, there's a lot of people that either one, don't know football, or two, are what I call the keyboard complainers that just find something to bitch about. And they'll just bitch about anything. They'll bitch about the play calling, they'll bitch about a receiver, they'll bitch about Jordan Love and not seeing a guy wide open when everybody else can see it. Because every quarterback misses. I mean, even when Rodgers was here, there were times you could see in the press box, like this guy was wide open and Rodgers went to somebody else instead just because he just felt that was a better matchup and just didn't see the guy in a split second. And sometimes, you got 6'6", 6'7" defensive linemen coming at you, and you can't see over. They block your lane of vision sometimes. So, but I don't understand the vitriol at times for Matthew Gold, and that's just, it's really, and I wonder if it's actually Packers fans or if it's just people that are just jumping on to jump on them, just the chronic complainers. Because that I'd have to go and see if they're actually Packers fans.
Or they're bettors or fantasy players who took Matthew Golden and are wondering
that too.
Feature him more into the offense. Right?
Well, that was like when Paul Chartian talked about it yesterday. He said you can't start Matthew Golden, and it's not a knock against Matthew Golden. It's just that the pool of receivers and the capability that the Packers have is so deep that no one guy is getting all the targets and getting you enough fantasy points for you to play him and start him. So and you're right, other than Kraft, and that's where people can play. So I agree with you. Let's see here. Ryan in Manitowoc absolutely needs to be a style points win, he says. When you play like you did against the Steelers in the second half, you need to step on the throat of the opponent and not let go. From what I see in the league, Chiefs, Bills, etc., they lose the game and then come back and crush the weaker opponents, which to me always seems like the Packers play down to the competition, to the weaker teams, instead of putting the pedal to the metal. Just my thoughts. Lutheran High, by the way, going for one more win tonight, hopefully. One more step closer to a state title. Have a good weekend. That's Ryan listening to us in Manitowoc. Yeah, the Hatchets are playing now. I saw a note from our friends in Tomahawk. Hatchets are playing tonight, too, in the second round of the postseason for the WIAA playoffs. So hopefully they get themselves a win as well. A lot of good high school football coming up tonight. All right, let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We're broadcasting live. We're at the Lodge. We're here in Marinette, Wisconsin, brought to you by our friends at J&L Tire and Service Center. J&L Tire right there on the Johnson Creek exit off of 94 and on Boulder Road in Watertown, Wisconsin. That's J&L Tire and Service Center. Go to the best tire dealer out there. And if you're specifically thinking about that right now, before winter hits and the snow starts to fly, get a hold of them. They can help you out. Whether you're an over-the-road driver in an 18-wheeler or just doing the minivan thing, they can handle both. And this is the type of year, or the time of year, I should say, that they start putting philanthropic efforts together for some of the success that they've had throughout the season. They start getting things together for all of the families in the areas and both of those areas that are in need. So if you think about somebody you want to work with, that's jnltire.com, jnltire.com. More from Marinette, Wisconsin, coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the snap. And the timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Park. What's the winning game plan this week?
The winning play is simple. of new age as low as $2.97 a month with 0% interest for 60 months.
That's a drug you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship winner from Power Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, and look at Clemens to follow it as a key stop the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up at number 1 had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing all drafty windows.
Roger.
Yeah, I gotta be back in
AG
Milwaukee
Efficient
tonight. I'm
Windows
not
to
even
keep
going
the
to the game.
cold out. You'll stay as toasty as a fan of a warm weather preseason game.
There you go, it's $2.97 a month for a whole house of multiple windows.
Plus, with 0% interest for over 60 months, don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at BetOnline.AG.A.
Okay.
So finally here,
Yeah.
from the back, before you
Yeah, I'll be here till. I mean, I get off the air at 2, and it takes me at least 45 minutes to carry all the town. I'll be here till probably at least 3 o'clock. Yep.
wanted to see you and we haven't seen each other with the winery.
Right? Yeah. It's been a while. Yeah. Matter of fact, I was going to stop at the winery on the way home. Yeah, I'm going to stop there real quick. I told Jake I'd stop in. I got up here last night after 6. They closed at 6, so I couldn't stop in and see them. And they were over at the Dome Lane last night. And I said, I'll probably stop there, but I had dinner. And I didn't get out of dinner in time to go over and say hi. So I still walked out now. Going to Mexico.
I assume that you stayed over at the Holiday Inn?
Independent. The Independent, which is the old Holiday Inn Express.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's what my mall there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I stayed there last night. That's what they put. Like, wherever they say, as long as it's clean, it's got a bed, I don't care. They can put me in a tent out back, as long as it's clean, I don't care.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go for Grant. The three guys that are in the playoffs against LA, they were swinging at anything and everything.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, those yellow guys,
Well, that shit, it was everybody. It was Gillis, Jackson Churio. Jackson Churio actually hit the ball. But you had Bryce Durang didn't hit the ball real well. Contreras didn't hit the ball real well. Blake Perkins wasn't hitting the ball. They struck out on 8 pitches in the dirt. 8 strikeouts and 8 pitches in the dirt. I think my opinion is they just got tight. They got nervous. All of a sudden, the moment and the team, the Dodgers just got big, and they just tightened up. Because they did so many things that were uncharacteristic of the way they play. Now, don't get me wrong. I think LA did a good job of pitching that because they got ahead in the count, and then they got tight, and then they started swinging. They started guessing. That's it. Yeah. But you remember, most of those guys are between even to the 2023. Yelich is the old guy.
Yeah,
You know. Yeah. But that was it. I mean, I think they've now been through it twice. They've been through the postseason. They know kind of what it is. So if they get back there next year, I'd expect them to be better. But I also think that third base and left field are 2 sinkholes, and you've got to put a guy in. You've got to get Yelich protected by another guy, and then Durang has to be. So you'd like to say either have Yelich start off, or Durang lead off, or Churio lead off, and then Yelich, then another guy, then a protector, then Vaughn, and then you can sprinkle your lineup. You need a guy that's going to give you a 265, 270 batting average without 30 home runs. I think you need another infield. I think third base is your priority. But if you're going to move guys around, get rid of Ortiz. Put Bryce Durang in short. He's wrecked actually his natural shortstop.
Well,
Yeah, he didn't come in as second baseman.
I thought he was second baseman.
No, he came in as a shortstop. Yeah, they were going to put him in short this year, and it just didn't work out. But he was going to be your shortstop. Because you guys
remember down in the minors, within 2 years, you're going to have 4 practices spot able to come. And you can practice about ready to come up now. So he's a shortstop or a third baseman. So you've got a lot of options. But I think they'll get rid of 14. They'll put Jerardi, they'll pick up a second baseman or move guys around and find a third base. You could even put Caleb Durbin over at second. He can play second. What are you going to do with college? So I think he'll be the odd man out. So he'll be a backup. Then with Blake Perkins. Yeah, he had trouble. Yeah, I agree. Okay. You too, later.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. We are live. We're here in Marinette, Wisconsin, at the Lodge, which we'll talk about that coming up here momentarily. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Point Brewing. Point Brewing, brewing excellence since 1857. And whether it's the Drop Dead Blonde or the Amber Lagers, the Pale Ales, they got something for everybody. They even have holiday stuff that's coming out. The Snow Pilot's fantastic. But if you get a chance, stop into your local stores and pick up local, which is Stevens Point. Stevens Point, Point Brewing, brewing excellence since 1857. Since 1857. Good stuff from our friends over there at Point Brewing. Dick Jerardi coming up here in just a little bit from our friends at BetOnline.AG. And we're going to talk with him. A little horse race. The horse racing. You know, Grant, I didn't even realize there were still races going. I mean, I know there's races. There's smaller races. I didn't realize there were any major races still going on. You know what I mean?
I just know when Jimmy hits us up and says, "Hey,
yeah,
before you want to talk about we love it." So yes, absolutely.
And we love seeing those guys. We see them at Super Bowl too. Usually Jimmy's walking around at Super Bowl. He's always got like 5 or 6 different people and guests and stuff. So we love seeing those guys. But yeah, we'll get Dick Jerardi back on. And this will be it for Dick this year. And then next year, the next time we come, we'll probably do the Kentucky Derby. The week of the Kentucky Derby, right there in the
I will leave both his I'll leave his picks and facts ratings for that.
I am attempting this year to be the year, this coming year in 2026. You ever been to the Kentucky Derby?
I have never been to the Kentucky Derby.
I've been there once years ago. I mean, back when I was living in Ohio. I mean, years ago. This was like late 80s. Was the last time, and it rained like hell. And I didn't really have a ton of money back then, and so you put together your best craptastic suit that you bought off the rack at some discount place. And I just remember I got there and I thought, man, I'm styling. This is great. And it rained like hell, and I lost a shoe in the mud because I put my foot down, and we were in the infield. We weren't in boxes or suites or seats or anything like that because we just stood around the infield. And you wear those plastic poncho things over you. And I remember stepping into a puddle thinking it was only maybe, just a little bit of water, and it just went all the way down. And when I pulled my foot out, it was like, and it sucked my new shoe off. And I remember walking around holding a shoe at the Kentucky Derby. That was my last experience at the Kentucky Derby. And I thought to myself, you know what, unless I'm in the media or if I've got a friend that's got tickets for seats or suites or something, I'm not going back. Screw this. And now I can't even get back. So that's like Kristen Pumpkins. Because she loves to dress up in big hats and everything anyway. So,
but you look good in a big hat. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I got a big head, so I need a big hat. I look good in a sombrero. That's about the only hat I would look good in.
Oh, really?
I don't know if a fedora would fit me right. Because I've tried that. Fedoras don't look right on me. But I did a party one time where it was a theme of like the 1920s, the Roaring 20s thing, where the men wore the double-breasted suits and the fedoras at the time. And the suit looked good. The fedora didn't. If it has to rest on your ears pulled down, it's like you're trying to bring in radio from Europe or something.
Where what are they called? A tam, one of those Irish, berets. I think you could wear one of those as a radio man.
All it does is it flattens out my hair, and I look like a penis with ears. It's just bad. It's just not a good look for me. So I try to just keep things. Other than every now and then I wear a ball cap. Beyond that, I'm trying to keep this off my head. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so again. 867-1670. Give us a shout. So there you have it. And by the way, we should have, correct me if I'm wrong, I know some people were talking about some audio issues over on the live stream. It should be good now. It should be. So hopefully it is. And if it is better now, you can probably hear the program and hear Grant and all that kind of stuff. So we did fix that. And if you want to text us, you can. Which, by the way, I'll get back to the text lines coming up here in just a moment. A lot of people chiming in about the Packers and what they're expecting to see this weekend. And we were talking about that a little bit earlier. This is from Bob, and Bob says, hey, guys, the two things I want to see, he talks about Matthew Golden. I want to see Matthew Golden more involved, and I also want to see if Rashawn Gary can keep up the pace of play. He's having one spectacular year. How much money is that going to cost the Packers? Well, Rashawn Gary is under contract for the next couple of years. So he's not the only guy right now I think that you're going to sign that is unsigned, correct me if I'm wrong, is Quay Walker. I think that's the only guy that they've talked about because they signed Devontae Wyatt in the offseason.
That fifth-year option.
Yeah, they picked up that fifth-year option for him. And I think the only guy that's unsigned is Quay Walker. And Quay Walker is my assumption is they're going to work out a deal with him here in the next month at some point if he continues to play the way he is. Because Quay Walker's having his best year by far. I think there's two reasons for that. One, obviously, the concentration up front on Michael Parsons, Rashawn Gary and company. But I also think Edgerrin Cooper has made an impact in the middle of that defense to where he's become kind of a focal point of the speed of which he plays, which also has then opened up things for Quay Walker as well. Quay Walker, like I said, having one of his best seasons. So I'm not but I think that's the only guy. I think that's the only guy that's going to be that's really kind of any kind of a contractual concern. Then you got Elton Jenkins. I mean, that's if you go to the offensive side of the football, you got Elton Jenkins coming into the season. But I think that's it, if I'm not mistaken.
I wonder if they look back and wish that they would have just fifth-year optioned Quay Walker like they did Devontae Wyatt.
Well,
you know what I mean? I wonder if they could have saved more money.
I don't think he wanted.
Well, I didn't know that part of the story. I didn't know that.
I think, I think they were trying to work something out with him, and they finally agreed to say, "Hey, let's wait and see how the season begins." And then they wanted to work something out. If I remember Goody's comments correctly, and I can't remember if it was a combine or if it came back to the beginning of training camp. I remember him being at a podium, and I don't remember if it was down at the combine in Indianapolis, if it was the beginning of training camp. But yeah, I know that they said they want to work something out. He's obviously a guy that they want to re-sign, and there was the discussion about it, but they had not gotten it done yet, but said that they were going to get something done, and hopefully mid-season. So my guess is well, then again, he's having a hell of a year, so they didn't pick up that option. Maybe he just wants to push it. I don't think he's going to go to free agency. They'll work something out with him, but maybe he saw what Michael Parsons got, thought, okay, I'm playing pretty well. I know what middle linebackers are valued at, so maybe he's trying to effort towards that big of a contract, but I don't think they're going to let him get away, even though and especially not now. Wouldn't you try to, Grant, keep the band together? I mean, really, if we look at this team legitimately, and I know we got to get to Dick Jerardi, but if you look at this team, I think the only weakness, and we've discussed this, is probably the depth of the secondary, right?
Yeah, and that position I think is best addressed by just throwing draft picks at it.
Right.
Like, I want young, cheap players. Corners to me have become like relief pitchers. I want to use them when they're cheap and effective and then let other teams overpay for it because they start to get hurt or they fall off quickly. So I don't know that the back end is necessarily addressed with money. I'd have no problem extending Quay Walker because I don't think it's going to cost that much. The money per year is not going to make your eyes pop out of your head. He's an inside linebacker, and he's clearly not going to reset the position. So I'm good with it.
I'm thinking because Romeo Doubs is coming up, Christian Watson's coming up. There's going to be some money that's going to have to be thrown there, but you've got a really good pool of wide receivers. I'm going to be really interested to see who they want to keep and who they don't, and what they want to pay them. But if this team, and we all believe it's good. We all believe that there's this breakout point here that we're sitting on the cusp of. But if it's that good, you kind of want to keep the band together while the window's open. I agree with you. They're probably going to throw at least 2, maybe 3 draft choices at the secondary before it's all said and done. But I don't think they have a lot of big contracts other than, say, like Elton Jenkins coming up. I don't know when Xavier McKinney is going to come up.
maybe he's one. But I don't think they have a lot of big major issues going into the offseason. All right, let's do this. Dick Jerardi is going to join us from BetOnline.AG coming up next, and we'll talk with Dick a little bit about the end of the horse racing season. And then from there, we are going to, in the next hour, maybe get a little Blues and Brews brought to us because we're up here today to kick off the weekend, which is the barbecue Blues, or Blues Brews and BBQs here in Marinette, Wisconsin. We're at the Lodge, by the way, on Main Street, the Lodge on Main, if you want to swing by and say hi. We're here today for this to kick it off, and then tomorrow, if you haven't got tickets already, they've got VIP tickets, they've got general admission tickets. You can go to fishonmarinette.com. That's fishonmarinette.com. And then click on the events page, and it'll take you right to all the information. It's the Blues, Brews, and BBQs. Joe Moss Band is here. And Joe Moss and Mike Wheeler, both Hall of Famers, too, when it comes to the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame. Both of those guys are here, and their bands are here. They're going to be playing this weekend, and one of them is going to swing by coming up here in about 45, 50 minutes. So stay tuned. Got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming to you live from the Lodge here in Marinette, Wisconsin. We'll be back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Get a good feeling. Yeah.
Welcome back to the program, the Bill Michaels Show. We are live. We are here in Marinette, Wisconsin. We're at the Lodge on Main, kicking off the weekend of Blues, Brews, and BBQs. Hopefully You're enjoying yourself no matter where you are in the state of Wisconsin. But if you're thinking about this way, come up here, enjoy yourself, and enjoy tomorrow, which is the Blues Brews and BBQs. And then after that, you head down to Lambeau Field. Check out the Packers and the Carolina Panthers. Brought to you by our friends at Dream Vacations. Let Michael and Melissa help you plan and book your next amazing getaway anywhere in the state of Wisconsin. You can give them a call, 414-208-4221, 414-208-4221. Again, 414-208-4221. That's Dream Vacations. Joining us now is the Breeders' Cup. Breeders' Cup is this weekend. Our buddy Dick Jerardi from BetOnline.AG back with us. Dick, how you doing, pal?
Good, Bill. How about you, buddy?
We're doing great. It's funny because we were just talking about the last race of the year, and then obviously we'll talk to you again come in May when we get to the Kentucky Derby. But I keep forgetting we've got another big race to go this season. So the Breeders' Cup, which is apparently wide open this year, right?
So, yeah, there's actually 14 races, Bill, over 2 days. Starts late this afternoon at Del Mar in California. There's 5 Breeders' Cup races today, all for the 2-year-olds, some of which you and I will be talking about next May, some of which will be in the Derby next year. And then tomorrow there's 9 more Breeders' Cup races, total purses of $34 million. And the highlight is the $7 million Breeders' Cup Classic, which in Central Time will be about 5:30 your time on NBC tomorrow.
So I want to get into a couple of horses, but one of the ones that caught my attention was I was always a Rod Stewart fan growing up, and there's one called Forever Young, which was a song that Rod Stewart wrote, although the horse, correct me if I'm wrong, it's from Japan, right?
No, you are correct. Ran third in last year's Kentucky Derby, and then ran third in last year's Breeders' Cup Classic. And won the Saudi Cup earlier this year. It's the richest race in the world. It's a $20 million purse. So, yeah, he's a really, really good horse. The Japanese, they love the game. Probably the 2 countries that most love the game around the world are Japan and Hong Kong. And they're starting to breed really good horses. So, yeah, Forever Young. They haven't been able – Japanese have won some Breeders' Cup races. They haven't been able to break through in the Triple Crown yet. But they're getting closer. It's just a matter of time until they win it. One of their horses is going to win.
Looking for a back-to-back win, Sierra Leone. I think 7-2. Am I right on that? 7-2 odds.
Yeah, that's right. And Sierra Leone won the race last year. It's interesting. We actually have the 1, 2, 3 finishers back from last year's Classic. Sierra Leone won it. Fierceness was second. Forever Young was third. And at BetOnline.AG at the moment, Bill, Fierceness is the 3-1 favorite. Forever Young 9-2. Sierra Leone is in the vicinity of, like you said, about 7-2, the second choice. And be interesting to see how the bettors will decide it, but that's where they are at the moment at BetOnline.
Then there's journalism, and the name catches my eye, obviously, because journalism was the close but no cigar in the Kentucky Derby. I think the Belmont Stakes as well, if I'm not mistaken. But journalism the threat to maybe finally get that win?
No, he's definitely a threat. So second in the Kentucky Derby, second in the Belmont Stakes, won the Preakness, won the Haskell, won the Santa Anita Derby. He was second in the Pacific Classic to Fierceness. So, yeah, he's had a great year. Just a phenomenal year. But, yeah, it would be the breakthrough because this is the strongest field that's been assembled in any race all year long. You got some of the best 3-year-olds. You got these horses that ran 1, 2, 3 in this race last year. So it's a really strong field. The downer is that we don't have Sovereignty, the Kentucky Derby and Belmont Stakes winner. Now, they intended to run him. He was entered, and he came down, unfortunately, in the midweek with a fever, so they had to scratch him. But other than Sovereignty, every good older, younger horse in America is in this race tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to just ask about Sovereignty because I had a couple of people ask about it if indeed the horse was not going to run, and you just kind of confirmed that Sovereignty is not going to be running in this one. Tell me this, for people, because this is kind of a later portion of the season in racing, and you talked about maybe some of these horses being in the Kentucky Derby next year. Why is this race so significant?
Well, the Classic specifically is significant because it was designed by John Gaines, who came up with this concept, as the championship race, right? The race that would possibly decide horse of the year. Yeah, and you want to, and because the purse is so big, it's obviously the biggest purse in North America, you're going to attract any horse that's still in training in November and is in good form and has had a great year. And this year, probably in my experience, this is 42 Breeders' Cups. In my experience, this would be up there with the top 3 or 4 classics ever run, just in depth of talent. And the fact that you have these top 3-year-olds from last year that ran 1, 2, 3 all coming back, that's kind of unusual these days. A lot of them end up going to get bred after the great years that they've had. So that's kind of the joy of having Forever Young and Sierra Leone and Fierceness. It was cool when they said they were going to come back last year, at the end of last year, but actually getting to this point through a whole season is hard. And it's why it was such a thing all year. You think, you get all these horses, plus these horses this year, and unfortunately at the last minute we're missing Sovereignty. And look, it's a big miss, because right now he's the biggest name in the sport. But that's just part of it. That does happen in this game.
Before we let you go, give me a long shot.
So I will give you a long shot in the Classic. A little bit of a hometown thing. Baeza came here to Parks in north of Philadelphia to win the Pennsylvania Derby. He was 3rd of the Kentucky Derby, 3rd of the Belmont Stakes. He's getting better. He's listed at 9-1. He could even be higher than that. He's at 9-1 at BetOnline at the moment. So yeah, I'll give you Baeza as my long shot to Classic.
Awesome stuff, Dick. Always appreciate your time. And if we don't talk to you again, have a great holiday season. And then I know like Puxatawny Phil coming up out to see his shadow back for the Kentucky. We always appreciate it.
You got it. Thanks, Bill. Look forward to it.
Thanks, Dick. Talk to you soon. There you go. The Breeders' Cup Classic coming up this weekend. Breeders' Cup Distaff this weekend. The Filly and Mare Turf this weekend. The Juvenile race this weekend. So you got the Juvenile fillies that are going to be running. A lot of good stuff in the Breeders' Cup. If you are a horse betting enthusiast, there's a lot of things to watch this weekend other than just say, the NBA, some college basketball exhibition games, and then obviously a lot of college football and pro football. But they got the Breeders' Cup kind of rounding out the season this year as well. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, and we got an hour down. We got 3 more yet to go. Everybody's going to be joining us, all the affiliates. We'll get more into some of the audio from Rich Bisaccia and Jeff Hafley. We're going to hear from Mike Clemens at the end of the program. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show live here in Marinette, Wisconsin, coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Micah Parsons is the NFC Defensive Player of the Month. That was announced yesterday, as Parsons has been electric in his first 7 games with the team. He has 6.5 sacks, which is top 10 in the NFL, while his 41 pressures lead the league. Coach Matt LaFleur was asked what it means to the team since he got traded from Dallas.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. All those guys are kind of feeding off one another, but I do think Half's done a really good job in DC of trying to get creative in terms of, you've seen him rush inside, outside. So it does put a little bit of a stress on the offense in regards to you're not quite sure where he's going to align.
Parsons also talks on what it means to win the award.
We're working towards something bigger. So, obviously sit back, reflect, appreciate this month about the work from the teammates, everyone who's investing into this. But now it's just like kind of move on. Now we're in November. This is going to be one of our biggest months in terms of teams, championship caliber, on to where we want to go.
It'll be Packers and Panthers on Sunday from Lambeau Field.
For nearly 40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Giannis Antetokounmpo was out with left knee soreness. No problem, though, for the Milwaukee Bucks as they would beat the Golden State Warriors 120-110 at the Pfizer Forum. Ryan Rollins had 32 points, while Miles Turner added 17. The Bucks will host the Kings on Saturday. Wisconsin basketball will begin their regular season Monday against Campbell. And finally, Wisconsin football is on bye. They'll be back next week against Washington. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Good day and welcome. Bill Michaels Show. Hour number 2. We are live. We're here in Marinette, Wisconsin. We're at the Lodge on Main. It is great to have you on board today. You want to chime in, you can. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can also text us, 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. You can find us there. And you can also find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, and follow us over there. Subscribe to us. We appreciate it when you do, and it's absolutely free. Absolutely free. Also, if you want to track us down on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and please follow us there too, if you could. We do a lot of, off the show stuff on those platforms, and you can always track us down there. Grant, you can follow him on Twitter, on X, at Wisco Grant. You can follow me at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. And we are in different platforms of Twitch, Kick, LinkedIn as well. You can always pay attention to the program. We always want you to pay attention to our affiliates are up here in Marinette, Wisconsin, which is where we're at. I just saw Jim Callow stop by, and I haven't seen Kit yet, but I met Kit's twin brother at Quick Trip this morning. Now, Kit, for those that live in the Marinette area, you know Kit because he's been around forever. And I used to do some stuff when we used to call the M&M games. I do one half of football on the Marine side, and then the other half on the Maroon side. And Kit was always great to work with. So I just saw his twin brother a little while ago. But mighty WMAM up here in Marinette and Menominee. But if you want to get a hold of us in many different platforms, you can. You can email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com, the website, thebillmichaels.com. Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts after the fact. They are on many of our local affiliate stations as well. And we are a television show tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Central Time. You can find us on My24 TV in Milwaukee. So there you go. Plenty of ways to track us down if you choose to do so. Grant Bill's back in the studio. So this hour, Grant, we're going to get some blues music here at the bottom of the hour. Just so you know. Joe Moss is here. He just walked in a little while ago, and they're setting up the little jam session. So we're going to get some blues music today, which we're kicking off. For those that don't know why we're here, they've got to, not only is it great to be at the Lodge, because, and I was telling this story today when we had talked, and how, I don't know, maybe a year ago, we started talking about, the affiliates that we go to. And I said, I haven't been to WMAM, the Menominee Marinette area, in a long time. And people said, well, you got to go to the Lodge. And I didn't know what the Lodge was. I said, okay. And they said, it's a new bar, and it's big, and the food's really good and everything, and they've got this homage. Have you ever seen, I can't remember what the name of the picture is. It's all the workers, the construction workers, sitting on a girder like 20 stories up, and they're all having lunch. Yeah. It's like lunch in the air or something like that. I can't remember what the picture is. But they have an homage to that here where, and I'll take a picture of it and post it later, where outside they have the picture of all the workers on the beam. An actual beam
lunch
on top of the building.
A skyscraper.
Yeah. And they actually have that. So it's kind of an homage to the workers and such, which is really, really cool. But they built this place and took it over, and it's beautiful, and absolutely. So everybody said, you got to go to the Lodge. So that's what we decided to do when we came up and wanted to pre-promote the Blues, Brews, and BBQs. So good stuff. And I don't even know how I got into this story, to be perfectly honest with you. I went down a cul-de-sac of hell there of information. I don't know what I was talking about. Sometimes
we have the music coming up at 11:30.
We were talking about the music. I can't remember what the hell I was talking about, though. There was something else there that I wanted to say, and it just completely escaped my mind. But that being said, talking Packers, getting ready for the weekend, and the Carolina Panthers. How about the Bucs got a win last night? The Bucs getting a win over Golden State. What can I ask you this? Have you seen, and I don't know what is real and what isn't real, because we all know that the internet never lies. Have you seen all this stuff about Steph Curry's wife?
No, I have not.
Well,
what's going on there?
I don't know if it's true or not, because I've read where basically like publicly bashing him and the family and this and that, and but I don't know if any of that's real. But it was funny because somebody brought it up to me last night and said, "Hey, did you hear about that?" I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. But I've seen things that have been said, but and again, I don't know what is and isn't real anymore, unless you're getting it from a credible source, but I don't know if any of that stuff's real. So if somebody knows, I'm asking for my own personal information more so than just a story to talk about. But
It looks like she's making a career move, a career switch, something away from basketball. That's the only thing that I'm seeing.
I guess
some of these stories here.
It was something like she's just unhappy, and in the meantime, Steph Curry's singing the praises of the family and loving her, and yet something I don't know, something about the money. And I don't know what is and isn't real. It's you look at stuff. It's like the headlines we talk about every now and then. It's like the other day I saw a headline on one of these Packers pages that said, "Hey, congratulations to Jordy Nelson for being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame." I'm thinking, what the hell are you talking about? It's not happening.
I mean,
it'd be great if it did, but it's not happening. Yeah. But yet you had 500 comments. Oh, it's about time. He's a great receiver. And I'm not disagreeing, but he's not going to the Hall of Fame. And yet it had, I think, like 3,200 hits in like 2 hours. And there was one guy at the very bottom of the page that said, "This is fake." Everybody else is like, "Oh, it's on the internet. It's got to be real, right?"
Fake news on Facebook is the thing
Right?
that's, one of the many things that's going to bring this country down, but that's near the top of the list these days. Yeah.
I just remember back in Indiana, like 2 or 3 years ago, there was a woman, her and her husband, he like stuck fur all over him. And she said she got a picture of Sasquatch and had him walking through the woods. And then next thing you know, that Sasquatch show on Discovery Channel is going there to find him. And that's what I was making fun of it, because it's like they were saying, well, I think he's down the street at Starbucks getting a cafe latte or something like that, because she videotaped her husband walking through the woods, this big hairy monster, and they said it was Sasquatch. You don't know what the hell's real. So I don't know. There you go.
AI is not made matters easier either.
No, and at least you can kind of tell what is AI. You can kind of see it. It's too perfect.
Some folks can.
Yeah, it's too perfect. You can kind Yeah, I'll never forget that. It's like 2 years ago in the lake in Indiana, and I called my friend. I'm like, "Is this my buddy Scotty, who's always talking to me about Sasquatch stuff, because he thinks some of the people that swear they've seen him are nuts." And I said, "Is this true?" And he said, "Hell no, that's not true. They busted the woman. Apparently, they were like sticking fur on her husband or something, and he was in the woods in God, I think it was like Shelbyville or something like that, running through the woods. It's just like it's Sasquatch." I'm like, okay, I've seen it all now. So, Dustin says over in the live stream, want to give a shout out to the Marinette Marines for the football team, since we're up there. First winning season and playoff appearance since 2011, which is probably the last time we were here. So maybe just our appearance alone keeps the good luck charm going, because we haven't been here in like a decade. So that's probably the last time we were here, as a matter of fact. So shout out to them. And the Maroons played tonight. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Here you go. Darren says, "Do you believe in trap games?" Everybody seems to be pointing at this one as a trap game. Darren, and anybody else listening that's talking about trap games, no, not this one. It's 2 words: Cleveland Browns. If you overlook the Carolina Panthers because you think you're that good and like you're just going to start looking ahead to Philadelphia, you'd have to be a fool. You started talking about Super Bowls and looking a little bit past the Cleveland Browns, maybe starting to look towards Dallas and that trip to Dallas. And you were coming off of back-to-back wins between Detroit and the Commanders, and you're feeling yourself. And the next thing you know, you go into Cleveland, a team that you should have handily beat. And instead, you couldn't get the offense going. Defensively, you played really well. You couldn't get an offense to move the football to save its life. And you made some mistakes, and that was the beginning of the end of the special teams unit when they ended up getting the field goal blocked, and you lose the game 13-10 in Cleveland. If you overlook Carolina, you'd have to be the biggest damn fool inside the locker room at 1265 that ever existed. So to say trap game, no, not at all. If you take this team light, that's why I said I'm taking the Packers to win, but I'm not taking the Packers to cover. The 13.5, I think, is what it is, right? 13.5? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what it is.
Yes, unless
Something
it's
like
moved
that.
again today, and I'll check.
Yeah, but I think it was 13.5 when you and I did the picks. So yeah, I'm taking the Packers to win, but I'm going to take Carolina to cover. But no, I'm not believing that this is a trap game. Not happening. Not happening. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Let's do this. We're going to break, but when we come back, Micah Parsons had a long sit down with the media. We're going to hear from Micah Parsons. Then at the bottom of the hour, we're going to get some blues music and a little chat regarding as to what's going on up here in Marinette, Wisconsin this weekend for the Blues Brews and BBQs coming up beginning tomorrow. It's tomorrow, and then obviously if you come into the area, you start heading back to parts unknown. You go down through Green Bay Way, and you can catch the Packers and the Panthers and swing by Burkle's for the Green and Gold postgame show after the fact. So it's a big weekend upcoming. Also want to give a shout out to our friends down in Milwaukee tonight. I'm going to be at Stenny's, 2nd and National Walker's Point. That's the place that I'm going to be. Is they've got their big Halloween costume, and this is a big one. They always have a really big turnout for this every year, which is the reason we get involved. And we're going to be down there for the Halloween costume contest tonight. Then tomorrow night, the Center for Veterans Issues. I'm going to be the MC for their gala tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to that and coming back to Green Bay on Sunday and doing the Green and Gold postgame show and being there for the Panthers and the Packers. So it's a packed weekend, but there's something going on all over the great state of Wisconsin. That's just a few examples as to what's going on. Maybe you got something going on in your neck of the woods. But if you don't, I would highly recommend visiting Marinette. If you've done it before, great. If you haven't, come on up for the first time and check out just a fun event that's going to be taking place this weekend. And you got 5 pit masters all kind of throwing their best barbecue together to try to win themselves an award as well. But you also have some great blues music that's up here this weekend also. So a lot of good stuff. All right, let's do this. We're going to hear from Micah Parsons when we come back, broadcasting at the Lodge right here on Main. The Lodge on Main, which is where we're at. And everybody kept saying, you got to go to the Lodge. And they were right. It's a tremendous place with already a really good crowd in here today. Brought to you by our friends at Marquardt RV, the supplier of the 2025 Big Unit Cruiser. And whether it's a Cruiser RV, a Jayco, a Glacier, or something like we have, a Thor motor coach, which was just beautiful, stunning to be able to use and cruise around in. Also, the great state of Wisconsin and beyond the borders. Thanks to our friends at Marquardt RV, who really believe in customer service during and then after, specifically after the sale, to make sure that you enjoy everything you need to get out of your experience when it comes to whether it's a tow behind, travel trailer, fifth wheel, or a full motorhome. 7 locations in the state of Wisconsin. I think 8 locations now in the state of Wisconsin, to be exact, and a couple of them over in Minnesota. That is Marquardt, MARKQUART, MarquardtRV.com. That is MarquardtRV.com.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the snap and a timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, the winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 60 months.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stopped the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number 1 had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing old drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows that keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a fan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Plus, with 0% interest for up to 60 months, don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Service versus supply, 7/21/2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show live here in Marinette, Wisconsin. We're at the Lodge on Main, which is where you can find us. Speaking of Main Street, if you're looking for new Harley-Davidson or anything pertaining to Harley-Davidson, Suburban Harley-Davidson, that's on Main Street in Thiensville, Wisconsin. Check it out at suburbanharley.com. That is suburbanharley.com. You can call Todd, the GM over there, directly, 262-242-2464. And whether it's a new or a used bike, maybe you want to get your bike in for winterization, servicing, storage this time of year, as I know a lot of people start looking for places to go. They have got a fantastic facility over there, not to mention they've been in business now 50-plus years. They're family-owned, community-minded, a lot of motor clothes and such and holiday stuff coming up if you're looking for gift ideas. But that's Suburban Harley-Davidson, family-owned, community-minded, Main Street, Thiensville, Wisconsin. Go to suburbanharley.com. That is suburbanharley.com, or call Todd. He's the guy that can make the deals over there. 262-242-2464. 262-242-2464. And they were big supporters of ours this year for the Big Unit Poker Run, which was fantastic. Had a terrific turnout again this season. Let's do this. We'll go northward, southward for me, but northward for many, to Green Bay. And Micah Parsons had a chance to sit down and do his weekly. So take a listen to what Micah Parsons had to say.
Well, congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Defensive Player of the Month, just thoughts on being able to have an award, even though it's a season award, but still just what you've done.
I mean, no matter what you do, it's always a great honor to get recognized by your accomplishments. But even though, you just understand more months, more goals, we're working towards something bigger. So, obviously sit back, reflect, appreciate this month about the work from the teammates, everyone who's invested into this. But now it's just like kind of move on. Now we're in November, and it's like this is going to be one of our biggest months in terms of teams, championship caliber, and going to where we want to go.
We had one of our listeners or fans to say, "Give it in a month where we had a blanket."
Yeah, that was impressive. I was like, damn, dude. I even looked back and said, what games did we play? Like, it kind of threw me off too. Like, I was a little bit in shock, but we're just ready. I just feel like I'm really getting into a groove and rhythm right now, and I'm excited to go play again.
Did you look at Aaron's house after he told you to buy it?
I looked at it actually like a month or so ago. I talked about it, and Tuck said he might try to look at it. And I said, it's a nice house. Like, don't get me wrong. But it's just me right now. That's why I'm just not like in the urge to buy anything. It's just me.
Like you said, you feel like you're getting into a groove. Why do you think that is, and what do you think that leads to?
I just think the team is understanding how I play. Coach Halfley, my rushers, we understand the talent we have and situations, and we're just coming together as a cohesive unit. Like before, it was just like, let's see what Uno can do. Let's and then now it's kind of like the standards been set in the room, and we just talked about the standard last couple of weeks today, and how we just hone in on it. And what that means more stuff's coming in. We're only going to get better because now we're like, all right, this is how they're going to play. We're going to adjust to this. Like, so many things is coming in. And we're glad that teams is showing us, how they're going to approach me, how they're going to approach the team early on, because now we can plan for almost everything. And we have a plan for almost everything. So it's always exciting to see what new challenges we face. But early challenges means later success, because we've seen these looks before. We've seen how they're going to attack us, And now we kind of know how to adjust or what to get into.
Michael, you're giving other teams a lot of different looks, like in Pittsburgh lining up behind the D-line and then coming around from the middle. What type of a bind does it put opponents in when you're able to do a lot of stuff? And how much fun is it to have different stuff?
Yeah, it's fun. And that's why I say, like, there's not too many rushers that understand systems. And, like I said, I've been extremely blessed because I've been around some really great coaches. From Coach Edwards, my rookie year, he used to make me sit in after work and watch film extra hours about reading slides and protections and how teams are going to manipulate. How they start is how they're going to end. They just don't want to – they're going to try to confuse you. To Coach Zim, to teach me about protections even more, to the greater magnitude of with the 6-man double Mabel and all that other stuff. And when you understand how teams are going to protect and how they're going to come out, one thing that we have to our advantage is they have to communicate. They're in their game plan. They're like, where's number one in lining? If he's outside, we can motion. But when I go inside, it's like, now which way can he go? Is he going right? Is he going left? And I can dictate that because I know where it's going, how they're going to try to approach me. They want 2 people on me. And if they're going to do that, guess what? Other guys are going to come free. Other guys are going to be one-on-one. And if they don't, that means I'm going to be one-on-one. So, I mean, when you kind of understand the game at a really high level and you can manipulate the game the way you want to, you can really have a lot of fun and a lot of success. And we've been having a lot of success with it when it comes to Bengals. We had success with it. Last week we had success with it. And now we're just adding to that toolbox about how much more success we can have with it. So it's going to be where it's going to end, and this is just the beginning because we just started doing it. It's going to be really fun. Yeah, and that comes with it. And we're communicating in practice. Hey, I want to try to do this look. Like even practice today, I'm going up to KB and I'm like, hey, look, we're going to get the full slide this way. I want to try this game to this to see how it looks out, see how it looks, how it's going to plan out. Are they going to poker? Are they going to full slide it? Even, if Quay's down, if Quay's on the line, are they going full 5-man slide or just 4-man slide? So we're getting all different type of looks and we're reacting to them. And that comes with practice. Like we've been able to actually practice and learn from each other, not just in game. We're just getting more advanced, and it's a good thing when everyone's knowledgeable, when everyone's coming to work to learn, and everyone knows when their opportunity is going to be there.
Like, as someone that's won the green dot, what have you thought of just what Quay has done? Just kind of partnership you guys have kind of been able to build here.
Yeah, Quay's my guy. He's a fun guy, quiet guy, but when I tell you, he accepts every challenge in the most graceful way. And he just puts his head down and work. It's actually great because, I was telling some of my friends in the group chat, I was like, I kind of see why teams draft guys from Georgia and Bama. And, I would say for just a week, kind of like when we started hanging out more, I just watched him the whole week. And we're sitting next to each other at lockers. And I'm talking about throughout his whole week of how he practices and how he plays and how he's always into his film. Even pregame, I'm sitting next to him, I'm listening to tunes, and he's looking through his play call sheet. Just like the details, his mannerisms, how he approaches the game, it doesn't surprise me with the success he has. And I'm excited to see what he does, for here and even in the future.
Michael, your sacks this year have been recently. Is there something about how you read things in the second half of the game? And I know sacks aren't everything, but is there something to that?
Well, yeah, you got to look at it. And I mean, we watch the film. I think a lot of teams are coming out and they're trying to play safe. But, with the offense we have, when these guys are putting up points, they can't play safe anymore. They can't keep checking the ball down. They have to go for the explosive plays. They have to kind of reach a little bit more. And we're able to come alive. I mean, I think if you look at our games, we have some of the fastest thrown out balls, 2.3 seconds with Flacco and 2.5, and I mean that's almost like catch and throw, especially for a lot of us. And if we could get them to the 3.0 to 2.89, we have such a better chance to get into the quarterback. And I just think, when we're in those situations, I have a better chance. And some of them coming away from, when they get away from the chipping and full slide turns and things like that. That also helps.
It looks like Bryce Young's going to be back in quarterback for them after missing last game. What do you have to be aware of with him? And what do you guys got to do up front to try to throw him off balance?
Yeah, we got to get in the QB lanes. We got to make it as hard as possible for him. I have a good history with Bryce, and I understand he's an elite competitor. He's one of them Bama guys. You know, I know how he prepares, and I know how he's going to come in and try to exploit our team. And we just got to stay on boat. We got to have all hands on boat and take this game as serious as possible. Because when he's on, he's on. And you know, we don't want to see that happen. So we got to get out to the quarterback. But most importantly, we got to stop the run.
What does he do well?
I just think he makes his throws. I just think, you know, when he's feeling confident that these guys is blocking for him, like, we got to get him to the point he's looking at his O-line. Like, we got to get him from instead of looking downfield to looking in front of him. And then, I mean, if you can make any quarterback do that, you know, you have a good chance. Like, I think there was a clip, you know, when he was playing the Commanders, Jaden Daniels was looking back at me like, is he coming through? Did he break through? And I think, you know, those type of things changes the game. Like, when he's constantly like, oh my God, like, I keep getting hit. They're getting back here. Like, those are things that throws your quarterback off. There's impossible for him to look at his second read or his first read if he's worrying about the front. So that's how we got to affect him and get after him.
Like, your first week here, you talked about how you've never not played with a Pro Bowl or All-Pro corner. The interceptions haven't come yet. Do you expect that? And what do you think of your corners and their potential to capitalize as the second half of the season?
Yeah, I mean, they're coming. I mean, interceptions aren't everything. I mean, how many corners you seen go All-Pro and had 2 interceptions? It's about coverage. I mean, these guys are playing tight coverage. I think, you know, they're playing really good, and I think they're even going up another notch. I think even they're not used to the ball coming out so fast, you know, and they're kind of playing a little bit more softer. But as more confidence and the rush ties in with the coverage, it's been getting better. I mean, some of those quick throws against Steelers they're right there. They're hitting them as they're catching the ball. So that lets you know the confidence they're getting into the rush. And I think the more we get into it, the more we keep catching these leads, them interceptions are going to come.
Michael, what has been the key to the run defense for you guys and how you've had so much success throughout this?
Just the mentality. We understand we got to earn the right to pass rush. And that's all what we want to do. We want to pass rush, but we got to earn it. And it starts off first, second down, and then it's also just the guys earning their roles. Like Kobe, you know, it starts with him. You know, we call him the general. Like, he owns his role. He understands. He stops the run. Like, he comes in, he's like, I'm going to go to do what you do. You know what I mean? Like, we got guys that own their role. KB, he does a little bit of both. DY, a little bit of both. And then when it's time to rush, we all rush. But, you know, those guys own their roles. They know they got to stop the run. They do it with a badge of honor. And when you got guys like that on the inside, get a lot of good things can happen.
Like, I don't know how much you've seen of your old team, but what do you think the Wind Cowboys are playing on defense right now?
You know, it's tough because obviously it's a defensive game, but, you know, I do see a lot of good things. There's flashes. It's just all about consistency in this league. Same with us. Like, you'll see a bunch of good things, and then we do a bunch of bad things. And I just think you got to limit the bad things. And, you know, that's an everyone thing. But, you know, I see some of our players playing really good. You know, some of my brothers, Osa's playing well. Don's really stepping up. I've been watching his film. You know, I've been talking to him. So, you know, it's just all about that, just putting everything together. And then just dialing on your technique. That's all football is. It's just fundamentals and technique and who's going to play it better.
What's allowed the season that he's had? When you guys look at that other side, what's not the game plan, but how do you stop some of the dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that from him last year. We played 11 games and went over 1,000. This is the first chance a team actually wants to run the ball. I mean, he used to average 4 or 5 yards a carry in Dallas. We just didn't give it to him. It's a lot. Like, I mean, it's not a surprise the year he's having. He runs hard. He's running with passion. What we got to do is just make sure he don't keep falling forward. That's his biggest thing. He falls forward. We got to get everyone to push back, get him falling back, and we can win this game.
You guys one of the great pass rushers in the league, and it's Packers week. Did you watch much Julius Peppers when you were younger? What do you think?
Yeah. JP, I mean, obviously he's a freak. I mean, he's one of the best Hall of Famers, one of the GOATs. You know, that's kind of who I'm trying to get Van Ness to turn into. With those freakish long arms and his power and what he did. Julius, he's one of the great ones. And, you know, if you can get anybody to play the way he did, we're going to have a lot of success.
Micah, you played for a couple of defensive coordinators who also been coaches in DQ. What has it been like playing for Hafley? What have you learned about him? Could you see maybe that being in his future whenever that day may be for him?
Yeah, I do see it in his future. I think he's a very player-first coach. Same with Zim and same with Q. I think, I don't want it to happen sooner or later, but it probably will. You know how this league goes. But, I mean, he's just a hell of a coach. And one thing I like is that, like, we communicate on such a high level. When I say I want something to go in, he puts it in. Like, he finds a way to adjust. And usually, like, he's not just telling me to fit in the system. He understands how good we are and what we can be and our attributes and what we can offer. And he puts it in. Like, it's not like he just makes the adjustments that you need as a player and doesn't put guys in position. He puts us in a position to win and not for his own self-esteem. Like, hey, this is my defense. Like, he's opened it up night and day since I've been here. Like, and I love it and the guys love it.
Two more for Mike.
Trap game. What do you think? In Cleveland, you were Dallas. You said you were looking at Phillies next week. When you hear trap game, what do you think?
I mean, either way, I think both of these matches is kind of like, back and forth. I mean, we played when the Browns week 2, week 3. I mean, they were coming off very close losses. Like, it wasn't like they were getting blown out. This Panthers seems the same way. They're 4-4. So I really want to consider them a trap team. And they beat the explosive offense of Dallas that we didn't beat. They beat, what was it, the Bucks or the Falcons? Falcons. So, I mean, this team is a very good team. Like, I wouldn't consider this a trap game. Even Philly next week, this is just all about us and how we prepare. And just we can't beat ourselves. The 2 games we tied and lost, we beat ourselves. We missed at the end of the game, and we just didn't play good enough defensively against Dallas. So those are all things we can look forward to do this week, just play good on defense for 4 quarters.
Mike, do you pay attention to injury reports at all? Because they have a bunch of injured offensive linemen. I'm wondering if it matters to you, or you're just going to beat whoever's.
Yeah, it don't matter. Line them up.
There you go. That's Michael Parsons talking to the media. And again, the discussion of trap game comes up. And he said the exact same thing. He's like, look, we played Cleveland. We learned our lesson. This is not a trap game. And we're not going to look ahead to the Monday night game, even though it was mentioned, to Philadelphia coming into town. And that's where a lot of people are going to look and say, okay, you've already knocked off Detroit. You checked off one of the boxes coming into the season almost right away. Well, legitimately right away. This is the other one. This is a team that beat you twice last year on its way to winning a Super Bowl. It's a big game coming up. But as Michael Parsons said, we're not looking past anybody. And the lesson learned, that was Cleveland. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll come back. We got more to get to. A little music when we come back as we're here in Marinette, Wisconsin, kicking off the Blues, Brews, and BBQs coming up. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. We're going to talk, and we're going to hear more from the coordinators, too, by the way. We're going to hear from Rich Bisaccia. We got Jeff Hafley coming up here in a little bit as well. And then don't forget, the last hour of the program, Mike Clemens is going to be joining us as he does each and every Friday for the last 45, 50 minutes of the program. So don't go anywhere. Reminder that all of our guests appear on the Schneider Big Orange Hotline. Schneider hiring drivers right now. Go to SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com. Put in your zip code, and they can find an opportunity in your area. Go to SchneiderJobs.com or call them 1-800-44-PRIDE. That's 800-44-PRIDE. Get a hold of a recruiter today. Again, that's 800-44-PRIDE, or go to SchneiderJobs.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show live here in Marinette, Wisconsin, kicking off the weekend for Blues, Brews, and BBQs. Coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. This portion of the Bill Michaels Show, we're live here in Marinette, Wisconsin, brought to you by our friends at Viva, M-I-V-A, Viva Industrial Bearings in Grafton, Wisconsin. They're looking for really solid CNC machinists all over the state. If you're looking for a job, if you're looking for somebody that pays top dollar, if you're looking for great benefits, that is Viva, M-I-V-A, Viva Industrial Bearings. You can search them on Indeed and send over your resume, or just call them direct in Grafton, 262-337-2210, 262-337-2210. Again, 262-337-2210. That is MEBA. And they continue to grow in the power generation industry. They continue to be a leader, and they're looking for good CNC machinists. So, again, search them, IBA, MEBA Industrial Bearings in Grafton, Wisconsin. We're here because of the Blues, Brews, and BBQs coming up this weekend. here in Marinette, Wisconsin. We're broadcasting live at the Lodge today. And like I said before, we're going to hear more from the coordinators. We're going to hear from Jeff Hafley, going to hear from Rich Bisaccia. Got time for Steno. We're going to try to get Steno in as well. And also, don't forget, Mike Clemens is going to join us in the final hour of the program. In the meantime, one of the reasons we are here in Marinette, Wisconsin, is for the event coming up this weekend. And Joe Moss, the Blues Hall of Famer, is joining us here at the table. How do you become a Blues Hall of Famer? Just recognition, or
you just got to play a lot of shows and be out there and pay your dues. And some of the people that were in charge of that the Blues Hall of Fame committee, they called me and they said, "Hey, we're gonna do an induction ceremony." And I was like, "Oh, cool. What do you want me to play in the band?" They're like, "No, we're gonna induct you." And I think it was 3 other guys,
right?
And it was a surprise to me.
How long have you been playing?
I've been playing since I was 10. I'm 59.
Wow.
So, but I mean, I wasn't playing in blues clubs when I was 10, but I was playing, just playing in, my brother's a musician, Nick Moss, and we both were interested in playing rock and roll like everybody else. But my mom was, she was totally into blues and R&B and soul. Mm-hmm. And so, like I explained this earlier today, I was playing Led Zeppelin records, and it had a song on there, "I Can't Quit You, Babe." And my mom pointed out, she goes, "That's a Willie Dixon song, and Otis Rush does a really good version of that on guitar. You should listen to that." And that just set me down the rabbit hole for the rest of my life.
Next thing you know, you're doing blues. Yeah. Crazy. So you've been to this event before?
Yes. Last year we did this with Toronto and the city of Marinette. Brought out, he was Toronto. I think he had like the #1 record in Billboard for blues and Americana chart, and it was a really good event and went really well. They have amazing barbecue vendors out there.
Right.
There's samples and stuff. Really good beer, and if I don't say so myself, it's really good music. Yeah.
And Mike Wheeler Band, who is also a Hall of Famer, he's here.
Well, Mike, as I was telling you earlier on the break, Mike and I have a long history together. Mike is an amazing singer. He sings like a bird. I mean, he's kind of like the blues version of Luther Vandross. I mean, he has an amazing voice, and he's a really killer guitar player. They have a great band. Their bass player is very fun to watch, Larry Williams.
Okay.
So it's like, it's a really good band. And I used to work with him just about, I would not say every Thursday night, but quite a few Thursday nights in Chicago when all these different band leaders were off the road.
Yeah.
We would play at a jam session, and we were the house band. So it was a house band that was filled with band leaders from other bands.
Okay.
Yeah. And Mike was one of the 2 guitar players. I was the other one.
Wow. 2 Hall of Famers playing in one band.
We weren't Hall of Famers then, though.
Yeah, but still, you're on the rise. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't want to diminish this, especially on Mike's case. But for me, it's like, if somebody was saying like I was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something, or that would be a bigger thing. Being a blues guy is kind of like being a jazz guy. You know what I mean? It's like there's people, they kind of like, oh, that's cool, but we're trying to get the music out there.
Right.
And having events like this helps us do that. So I think if people come out and see this, you might be surprised by how much you like the music.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that we wanted to, obviously Sean got us on board this year to help us promote Marinette, which I've been coming to for years, and I just haven't been back in about a decade. But it's always been one of those cities where you come to, and it's got a lot of charm to it that if you're not here for a specific purpose, you wouldn't realize it. Just driving through, you'd go, driving through Marinette, and by the way, it's on the way to wherever. Whereas if you stop and you look around, there's a lot of really cool things here to be a part of.
I agree with that. In fact, I was actually just telling somebody, my wife and I were going to take a little vacation coming up here, and I was like, we're going to come back here. There's a lot of things to do in Wisconsin in general, especially when you're from the other state that,
the state to the south.
Yeah.
You're south of the border.
But I do love Wisconsin, mostly because the people are so cool here. But this is a place that more people need to come to Marinette and see what's going on here, because there's a lot of cool things going on.
A lot of neat stuff. And we're going to hear you play coming up here in a little bit as well, right?
Yep.
So maybe right after the top of the hour, we'll listen to a little music.
Sounds
Got to
good.
get a microphone over there. I got to get some way to get maybe lay the headset next to it, just jam for a little bit, something like that. We'll do that.
Sure.
Fantastic. Great to meet you, and great to
Thank
talk to you for a
Bill.
little bit.
Thank you,
kind of get a little bit of the background. But again, it's the Blues, Brews, and BBQs coming up here, Marinette, Wisconsin. It's underway tomorrow. If you want to go to fishonmarinette.com, that's fishonmarinette.com, to the events link, you can, and you can find the information there. You can also get the tickets there, and you can still come up and even buy tickets tomorrow. But it's a hell of an event, and again, just another hidden gem in the state of Wisconsin as we travel to all of our affiliates and get a chance to see so many different things, whether it's going down to Platteville or all the way up to Marinette, Wisconsin. Always something cool to find in the great state of Wisconsin. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show live here at the Lodge on Main. Stay tuned. We got more right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the snap and a timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, the winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 60 months.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stopped the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number one had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing all drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a fan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Plus, with 0% interest for up to 60 months, don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Service versus supply, 721-2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Speaking of the Blues, little Blues traveler, like that. Welcome back. Did you plan that, Grant, or was that something that just happened to pop up in rotation?
Bill, don't ask questions. I plan every little finite detail of this show. Did you plan that? I planned it 3 days ago. What are you talking about?
I thought you did. You're the pilot that's checking the wings 3 days before we take off. I like that.
Oh, man. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Right, exactly. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at the Sheraton Hotel Grand Riverwalk. Speaking of Chicago, in Chicago, we're going to be there down for the December 20th game when the Packers take on the Bears. And if you're looking for information and a place to go and spend the night as you get ready for the Packers to take on the Bears down in Chicago, call them direct, 312-464-1000. 312-464-1000. We're going to be there, and that's where the Green and Gold post-game show is going to emanate live from the Shy Bar inside the Sheraton Grand Riverwalk down in Chicago. We'll be there on December 20th for the Packers. We're actually going down to do some dinner down there on Friday night and hang down there on Saturday. The game is going to either be Saturday afternoon or Saturday night with the Green and Gold post-game show following, and then from there, we're going to hang out there a little bit on Sunday, do a little shopping, hanging out, and getting ready for the holiday season. So it's going to be a fun weekend as we head down in that direction. Coming up in the next hour, we are going to hear from the coordinators. We're going to hear from Rich Bisaccia. We're going to hear from Jeff Hafley. And we got Stenovich, too. Do we or do we not? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, we got them all. Yeah.
We got them all. Okay. So we got them all?
Yeah, we got them.
And then we got our guy, Mike Clemens, is going to be here for the last hour of the program. So we'll be talking to Mike. So there you go. I know for people watching on the live stream, the lights we have are the portables that we take with us, not the big studio lights at home. And they're not bright enough to light us up today with the lit background. So I guess I should have brought the background, the Bill Michaels Show background today, and put it up. But I'm like one of those people that, doing the show, if you're watching it, you know what I look like? I look like, when they do those interviews with people that don't want to show their face because they're ratting somebody out. That's what I look like. I look like I'm doing the interview today, but I don't want to be seen. Because at any point in time, somebody named Guido with no neck could show up at my house and put a couple of caps in my ass, and the next thing you know, I'm rolling around on the ground. That's what I look like today. So it's okay, because you see enough of my ugly face during the week anyway. So we'll show the crowd and the people that are actually here that are kind of around the bar. Got to get a wider shot too. That's the other thing. The camera that I have, the small shot, I don't have the wide shot with me today. I got to bring the wide shot with me from now on. Anyway, that being said. We're going to have hear from the coordinators coming up here in the next hour. Got a couple of text messages I wanted to get to too, real quick. This is out of the 715, and he said Matthew Gold has no clue where he's supposed to be on several occasions this year. Okay, my argument is this:
not true.
Which is one, not true. He knows where he's supposed to be. Sometimes, there was a couple of times where there were routes where he was in the same vicinity as another receiver. Okay, I understand that. He's a rookie. And I don't expect him to be perfect, and I certainly don't expect him to be Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and whoever other, top wide receiver that's out there, and I don't expect him. Here's the thing. Devontae Adams wasn't Devontae Adams until his third year. So, his first year was kind of a wash because he ended up banged up. His second year was pretty good. It wasn't great. And then his third year, he started to emerge, and you went, oh, okay, now I get it. Because he was never great until he became a really, really good route runner, which takes a little bit of time in the National Football League. Very few guys come in and just all of a sudden are wide open. And I said this before and I'll say it again, he's one of 5 or 6. He's not one of 2 or 3. He's one of 5 or 6. When you've got Dobbs, sure-handed, good route runner. You had Reed, sure-handed, good route runner. Dontavian Wicks, probably one of the tougher guys to cover. You look at a guy like Tucker Kraft, who has really emerged into a tremendous receiver and a weapon for the Packers. Josh Jacobs coming out of the backfield. I mean, you can go on and on. And now you got Christian Watson back. He's a low man on the totem pole of a deep pool. Not to say that you've got a bunch of Jamar Chases running around out there, but you got a pretty deep pool. I'm not worried about Matthew Gold. I'm just not, because you saw him begin to emerge against Cincinnati when he had his targets weren't a lot, but the targets that he did have, he started to make something of himself. So I'm not concerned about that right now. And if you're watching to see if he's running the right route, as opposed, look, the other aspect of this is if you say he's not running the correct route, which I think I've only seen once or twice. So when you say that, I think it's few and far between. But when you say that and you look if he's running the right route, is the play still successful? Because the only time I saw him in the same vicinity as another wide receiver, the ball actually ended up going to Romeo Doubs. That was against Cincinnati in the I think it was the second half of the ball game, but it was a route in which they were running towards the south end zone, and him and Doubs ended up on the Packers sideline together within about 3 to 5 yards of one another. Doubs ended up making a catch. But remember, you go back to the game in which they were driving on that fourth down play in Dallas, where he was smart enough to where he ended up running the route and cut it off because they were playing deep zone. And he knew to find the pocket in the deep zone. Instead of continuing the route, he sat down in the only open space there was, which was a very smart and veteran thing to do. He sat in the route, in the opening of the route, and ended up picking up the fourth down conversion. So you can talk about that, and if you want to point out a negative, but give me that positive, because that was a big positive to get the team downfield and ultimately ended up taking a field goal. That being said, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We are coming back. We're going to hear a little blues music coming up in the next hour. And we are also going to hear from the coordinators. We're going to hear from Rich Bisaccia. You're going to hear from Jeff Hafley and Stenovich. Stay tuned. We got another couple of hours, 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. More of the Bill Michaels Show live here in Marinette, Wisconsin. We'll be back right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers putting the finishing touches on their game plan for Sunday's matchup with Carolina, looking for a fourth straight win. They will do so with the reigning NFC Defensive Player of the Month and Micah Parsons on their side. Parsons been lights out since he arrived in late August from Dallas in a blockbuster trade, but even he was a little caught off guard by the award.
Yeah, I was impressed. I was like, damn, dude, I even looked back and said, what games did we play? Like, it kind of threw me off too. Like, I was a little bit in shock, but we're just ready. I just feel like I'm really getting into a groove and rhythm right now, and I'm excited to go play again.
Parsons, the Packers, big favorites on Sunday, 12.5 points. It's the second time they've been a double-digit favorite this season, with the other coming against Cincinnati. That game proved to be a little bit closer than expected. Packers winning by 9. Carolina comes in 4-4, but got blown out 40-9 last week by Buffalo. Green Bay enters 5-1-1. Kickoff Sunday is set for noon. Turn to the Badgers. They are off this week. They'll get back in action next Saturday with Washington coming to Camp Randall Stadium.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
All business owners want the same thing, to make their business succeed. At Rural Mutual, they help that happen. As the third largest writer of commercial business in Wisconsin, they take the time to learn your business so they can properly protect you. Call your local agent today or visit ruralmutual.com.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Bucs are off to a 4-1 start after taking out Golden State last night without Giannis Antetokounmpo. They will now welcome Sacramento to Fiserv Forum tomorrow afternoon. Tip is at 4. The Wisconsin basketball team practiced today as they get ready to open their season. They will do so on Monday against Campbell at the Kohl Center. And the unbeaten Wisconsin men's hockey team going to look for a sweep of Minnesota tomorrow night. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Welcome back in 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go, past the halfway point, the Bill Michaels Show on the air here in Marinette, Wisconsin at the Lodge on Main on this Halloween, October 31st. I can't believe we're going into November, to be honest with you. So coming up this hour, we're going to hear from the coordinators of the Green Bay Packers. We're going to hear from Jeff Hafley, Rich Bisaccia. We are going to hear from also Adam Stenovich coming up in the next hour. Following, we're going to hear from Mike Clemens, who is in Green Bay, coming out of Lambeau Field as the Packers wrap up their practice today. And we talked a little bit earlier about why we're here. We're here for the barbecue, which is a tremendous event. The Blues Brews and BBQs coming up this weekend, which begins tomorrow, and it's here in Marinette, Wisconsin. And again, if you want to get more information or the tickets, go to fishonmarinette.com. That's fishonmarinette.com, and go to the events page, and you can see it all right there. Joe, you ready? You want to play a little bit for us? So I had to get a little ingenuity. So go ahead and start jamming. Just do it. Instrumental? Okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I love this stuff. I love this stuff. Moss doing a little jamming. Nice. Grant Bill's got to be loving this.
I'm a fan.
Yeah. There you go. Now we need drums. We need everything else here. The Hall of Famer Joe Moss, ladies and gentlemen. Excellent stuff. There you go. Excellent stuff. Joe Moss, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Hell yeah. Nobody else, I'll tell you this, in the state of Wisconsin right now has that kind of stuff on their show. I don't care who you are. That's good stuff. Grant, do you, because Grant's a guitar player. Grant, you jamming back there in the studio?
Yeah, just tapping my toe a little bit, a little ham bone on my thigh. Yeah, you know.
There you go. Excellent stuff. Packers coordinators, Rich Bisaccia and company, all spoke to the media. Who do we want to do first here? You know what? I've got an interest in
Jeff Hafley.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in Jeff Hafley in the defense. You got the defensive player of the month in Micah Parsons. The defense has question marks in the secondary. Nate Hobbs, obviously the change with Carrington Valentine. Jeff Hafley talking to the media. Take a listen.
We were talking about Micah earlier, and he called Colby Wooden the general.
The general.
Anyways, how has the general been a big factor in your run defense?
I love the general. Did he tell you why he called him the general? What did he say? I'd love to hear his explanation.
He said Vio gave it to him because the general is the heart of the run defense as the nose.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I think it's bigger than that. I mean, if you guys have been around him, right? He's got this energizing presence and personality, and it's upbeat, and how hard he plays and the role that he's, all of a sudden self finds him in. He's just this relentless guy who always has a smile on his face that you kind of want to follow him, and it's good to have guys like that. And it's cool to hear Micah Parsons, compliment his teammates like he often has been doing and giving a guy like that a nickname, but he's earned it. I'm proud of the way that he's played. I love being around him. I mean, it's been great.
First got here last spring. How have you seen Colby Wooden progress? I mean, we can see physically how much he is bulked up. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, it's everything. It's his opportunity, right? He's playing a lot more. It's his fundamentals, it's technique. I think VO and DeMarcus and Wendell have done a great job with him. And it's just how hard he's worked. He's gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger. He's getting really good in the run game. And he's got confidence. And I think that's so important for all of our players, which is hard nowadays, right? I mean, everybody seems to ride these roller coasters, and he's just a confident guy now. And his teammates believe in him. He believes in himself. We believe in him. And I think that's huge. And I think he's like an energy giver. I think that's the best way that I could explain the guy. And like I said, I'm just proud of him. I think he's going to get better and better as he goes. And because he's still a young player who doesn't have a whole lot of experience. But I'm excited to see what he can do.
What does it mean for your defense, your line, especially to have Devontae back on the field?
No, it means a lot. I mean, from a lot of ways. If you watched early in the game and you just watched him run to the ball and how physical he was, even down the field. I'm not just talking about like point of attack. He's taking on double teams. He's making negative plays. His pass rush. He's pushing the pocket. Watch him run to the ball and watch him hit people down the field. Whether it's chasing down a screen or chasing down a ball carrier or a receiver standing around the pile and he just, knocks a big guy over. He's just got a ton of energy and he's strong and he's a dog. I mean, and that's what he brings. He brings that attitude to the interior of the D line. I think guys like rushing with him, and we certainly like him in the run game. And, I don't know if he was 100% because you could kind of see him working his way back into it. I thought he played pretty well in his return. We missed him, and I think he'll get better as he goes, and he feels more comfortable.
Michael also has 3 fourth quarter sacks this year. And when I asked him about it, he explained it was more situational, but he does seem to play really good in the third and fourth quarter. Do you see that? And as well, what do you attribute that to? Well, I think he plays good in all quarters. And I'm not saying that to take a shot at your question because I think your question is valid. I mean, I attribute it to this. I mean, if you watch Major League Baseball and the closer comes in at the end of the game and he's got to get 3 outs, that's his job. When it's the fourth quarter and we need a stop, a 2-minute stop, or we need a sack, Micah Parsons is our closer and he's going to get the 3 outs. And I think he takes a lot of pride in that. And that's how he's built. And I think at the end of the game, when people start to get tired and he's putting his hand in the ground or he's coming up the middle or wherever we put him, he's just got a relentless motor and he knows it's his job to close out the game. So I think that comes from here, and he's a great player. To follow up real quick, a lot of guys will get fatigued. Is mentally, though, can you be even sharper because you've seen everything at that point, too? Everything that he expected is really playing out in real time as well. So you could be mentally sharper even if you're physically tired.
Yes, and that's a good point. And I think what he does throughout the course of the game, which we also have to do, people don't protect against us like what we see on tape. There's like a Micah Parsons plan every week. And it's actually making us become better coaches because we're constantly thinking about, all right, how has Micah been protected against? How are they going to protect him against this week? We go into a game with a plan, we see it, and we have to adjust, right? And he sees it, and he hears it, and there's constant communication about it. And as we get going and we see that, I think it helps us out a lot mentally, right? I also think you have a guy that in those 2-minute situations, I mean, it's rush after rush after rush. You can't think about breathing at that point. You got to put your hand in the ground and do it again. And he just has that inside of him. And it's been really cool to see. But the mental part with Micah, I think, is one of the things that's hidden. Everybody sees this great physical player, but he is on it now when it comes to protections and what's going on. And that absolutely helps us later in the games.
The opposite side of that with Rashawn on the other side of the line, I should say. What have you thought of just the start he's off to? Because I think it's already 7.5 sacks. It's tying what he had last year. His quarterback hits are right there too. Just kind of the groove that he's been on.
Yeah, it's been great. And the thing I said to him, I think it was Tuesday morning or Wednesday, whenever our first day back was, I'm just so impressed with how he's playing the run game. I mean, he's setting edges. He's getting off blocks. He's not just rushing up the field. He's physical. He's tackling. I think he's becoming a complete player. And what he's doing is he's taking advantage of his opportunities and he's winning his one-on-ones. He got the sack fumble last week and he's finishing. And I'm proud of him. And I think it all stems back from the hard work that he's put in from OTAs to training camp to now and how hard he's working on the practice field. And I still think his best football is ahead of him. So another guy, just appreciate how hard he's working and how he's playing right now.
Hey, Jeff, there were a number of times that Carrington Valentine played press on Metcalf when he was across from Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
Was that prescribed, or was a lot of it what he wanted to do? And, how did you think he handled playing press like that?
Well, there were situations we wanted to press him, based on where our help was and what the call was, because we wanted to get our hands on him if we had somebody over the top, or we wanted to get our hands on and play underneath him, or it was just shorter down in distance and we wanted to challenge people. And then there's times we wanted to play off. But how do I think he played? I thought he played one of his best games since he's been here. And I think that says a lot about him as a person and him as a player. And I think it's important for all players to see that. Again, this league's hard. Every game's hard. And that's one of the hardest positions to play. And you're going to have adversity. And he had adversity and he wasn't playing a lot. But he didn't sit there and sulk and he didn't, complain. All he did was work. And he practiced harder and he got better and he earned the opportunity to go back on the field. And then what did he do? He took advantage of the opportunity. And he played really good against a really good wideout in one of the Hall of Fame quarterbacks. I mean, Metcalf didn't do much in the game, right? Most of the pass game wasn't very effective throughout the game, and he was a huge part of it. And that's why, take the game away. I'm most proud of the fact that guys have to be able to go through adversity, right? It's like everyone wants to point the finger at Nate Hobbs right now. Like, Nate Hobbs isn't benched. This isn't the last you're going to see Nate Hobbs. There's no confidence lost in Nate Hobbs. I said that last week. I have not lost confidence in him. And what I love to see right now is how Nate Hobbs practiced these last 2 days. And that's what we have to build around here. Things are going to get hard. You're not going to win every game and you're not going to play great, but you can't hang your head. You got to rise up when that happens. And that's what CV did. And that's what I'm confident Nate's going to do, because we're going to need all those guys to win. And that's why I like coaching this group right now, because it's getting tight and we all have to understand that and help each other out.
Decision.
There are a lot of things that went into the decision. How CV was practicing, how he was playing, and he had the opportunity, he was playing well, and we just kept him in the game. I mean, there's really nothing more to it than that.
Is it difficult to have short-term memory back there?
Yeah.
They kind of talk about you can be good for 90% of the time, but the 10% kind of gets magnified.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. I mean, you're the one position on the field where the camera's on you, there's no help, it's one-on-one, the ball's up in the air, and you could wind up on the ground with the receiver over the top of you catching the ball for a touchdown. And you have to get up and jog off the field. Like, just think about that for a second. There's however many thousand people at the game. There's however many million people watching the game. I mean, you could be in another position and miss a tackle and nobody really knows, or you could, not be where you're supposed to be on a play and nobody really knows, but the whole world knows. I mean, so that's hard. And you have to be tough-minded. And I don't want those guys to lose confidence, and you can't coach them that way, and you can't talk to them that way. You got to get them better. We got to get them better. But just appreciate and respect what goes into playing in that position at this level and how hard to be able to bounce back from it. I mean, that takes a special person.
Quay didn't practice today. I'm not sure. Maybe it's precautionary or whatever, but you talked about him being elite last week. What would you miss without him, and what has made him elite in your mind? What have you seen after the season?
I just think there's so much growth to him as a person, as a leader, maturity, and then on the field. I mean, he sees the game so much quicker right now. And I think Sean Duggan has done an incredible job with him, teaching him the game, being around him. I think he's taken a big step. So I credit to both of them. His football knowledge, the way he's starting to see things and call runs out and call passes out and get guys lined up. Like, if you watch him right now, and it's almost like he's a quarterback back there, moving a wide receiver over here, checking this. He's moving defensive linemen. He's sliding over linebackers. He's talking back there with X. He's starting to see things before they happen, which is really, really impressive. And then the communication, the things that I'm putting on him right now that I did last week in that game to try to go with those players, the way he communicated the calls and got in and out of things based on our conversations, he wouldn't have been able to do that last year. And I think he's taken a step that way. And then I think he's playing faster. He's playing more confident, because you talk about confidence. Because there was a time last year when it was Quay Walker's not playing well. Is Quay Walker good enough? I mean, that was the reality of maybe last year at this time. And, he probably feels that too. But right now, just like the rest of these guys, I mean, he's got great confidence and he's not wavering from that, and he's playing like that. And that's what we want these guys to do, is just don't be afraid to make mistakes out there. Just be confident and go play as fast and as hard as you can. And if something bad happens, we'll correct it, we'll fix it, but let's just go on to the next play. And that's hard to do. I cannot say enough about how well that guy's playing and how much I appreciate the hard work that he puts in, the extra meetings that he comes and sees me. We go over the call sheets. We talk about what he likes, what I like, why. I mean, I love the guy.
Played a lot of Becker in camp, right, with the twos?
He did.
So what's behind the decision, at least the last time you went with McDuffie in the middle instead of him?
Just the experience and the opportunities that we've seen and been around him, and he's done it. And just really, that's all right now. Just the confidence that we have in him. I think Hop could do it too. So I think they're both very good options to do it. They're all going to have to play.
You've had Hop out there at least a little bit, like on that 2-point play he was out there.
That was a great play too.
I guess why was he out there in obviously in an important situation? What did you think of him?
It was a package we had with an extra linebacker in the game. They came out in a personnel grouping that we wanted to match it in that position on the goal line. And then, I grabbed him after the game. That was it. That was game over when he made that play because the guy had the ball for a second and he gloved it out and ripped it out. I don't know if that play gets enough credit, so I'm glad you brought it back up. It was one of the biggest plays of the game. I do have confidence in Hopper, and I do believe that the further we go into the season, the more that you'll see him play.
Jeff, those some of the times when you mug Quay and
Coop? I didn't know. It's all right.
At the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'll bail out a little bit early. Are you still working with him on holding water, or are those things that you're okay with that? Where he's trying to,
No, you're. It's both, right? A lot of times. All right. So a lot of times, say last week, the guy's up there and he's got the best hard count and he's changing and he's full and it's and then all of a sudden, the biggest thing is you want to use a shot clock, right? So just for some insight, a lot of times you tell the players before you go into any game, try to find out where that shot clock is, because a lot of quarterbacks, I could tell you, most offenses we study, you try to find out when they snap the ball on third down. So you try to use that shot clock to gauge it, and you work really hard on that in practice. So you can hold there as long as you can. Now, the other thing is, if I want him mugged up, but I give him a job that's like really, really far away and he cannot get it done from the line of scrimmage, then I'm totally okay with him getting out early. Because when I talk about disguise, which we talk about a lot, don't ever let the disguise take away from executing your job. Does that make sense? So if he has to get out early to do his job, that's okay. Make sense?
When defending the run, Evan had talked about the importance of trust, not overextending yourself, doing your job, knowing that the person next to you is going to. That trust element, is that just developed in all of this reps, the film room, or where does that come from?
Yeah, it's from practice, and it's from trusting the guy in front of you after seeing it over and over again is going to do his job so that you can do your job. When you talk about run defense, a lot of times you talk about building a flat wall, right? So there's gaps. So if the three techniques over here and the A gap is the open gap and I'm responsible for the A gap, I got to trust the three technique stays in the B gap. And what he can't do is when the ball goes like this, he can't do this too early, because if I'm in the A gap and he's in the A gap and the ball crosses back to the B, we're in trouble. So it's trusting the three technique's going to stay the three technique. If I'm Evan and I have a 9 technique in front of me, which means I'm going to set the edge on the defensive end, he's the outside piece. He has to stay outside the tight end, and Evan has to stay inside. Well, if that defensive end comes inside and Evan's inside, we're going to give up an explosive play. So that's how it's like a puzzle, right? Everybody's got to fit the right part of the puzzle, and you build a flat wall and you play good defense. The only way you get that done is if everybody does their job, which is the hardest thing to do on defense. Because if one guy is wrong, we're all wrong, right? And that's the huge part of what Evan's talking about, because I could see what he's saying. A lot of times we insert him in different spots. He's got to trust the guy in front of him is in his spot. So if he's in his spot, we're in good shape. Does that make sense? So that's what he's saying. Evan's a smart guy.
There you go. That is Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, kind of giving you a little bit of a breakdown and discussing some things, which we'll talk about when we come back. He talks about Michael Parsons, talks specifically about Quay Walker and his growth, talks a little bit about the secondary and Valentine. So let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. But before we do that, I want to go back over to Joe Moss over here, who's got the guitar and going to jam a little bit. We got to have more music to go out on. So, Joe, you're going to take us to break. You go ahead and fire your thing up. Go ahead and do it. There you go, Joe Moss joining us and jamming for a little bit. We appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break, but the Blues Brews and BBQs taking place up here in Marinette, Wisconsin this weekend. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the snap and a timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, the winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 60 months.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stopped the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number one had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing old drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows that keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a pan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Plus, with 0% interest for up to 60 months, don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Service versus supplies, 10/31/2025.
Truck drivers, don't miss out on the unmatched consistency of a Schneider driving job. At Schneider, you can find a driving position that fits your lifestyle and goals, all while getting the pay you deserve. Plus, Schneider drivers operate state-of-the-art, well-maintained equipment and have access to award-winning benefits and a 24/7 support team. Explore Schneider's huge selection of driving jobs today and find your perfect fit at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. This portion of the Bill Michaels Show brought to you by our friends Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill, Lakeview Boulevard in Milwaukee. They have their costume contest going tonight at Halloween and sports all weekend long, whether it's the World Series, the Bucks. You've got college football on tomorrow, NFL football on, and the Packers are on Sunday out there. But the Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill, they do so much as well, and they've got meat raffles and such and charitable events that they do out there. So you get a chance and you're in Lake Country and you're making the rounds, make Curly's one of your stops. Sports bar right there on Lakeview Boulevard in Pewaukee. And, the weather's still not bad. If you get a chance to kind of hang out outside a little bit, check out the boats and such going in and out right there by Smokey's Bait Shop and the boat launch right there at Pewaukee Lake. So still a good place to go. And say hi to Ryan and his staff. They're great people out there. They do a ton of charity work, specifically out there in the area. And congratulations to the Pewaukee Pirates as well when it comes to postseason in football, because that's a gathering place out there for a lot of the people that go to the Pewaukee game. So good stuff there. Coming up here after the bottom of the hour, Rich Bisaccia, a special teams coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. We're going to hear his commentary. Don't forget, coming up here in about 45 minutes, we're going to hear from Mike Clemens as well, who is also in Green Bay. Interesting stuff, though, coming from Jeff Hafley. He said, first of all, every week we're looking at game plans in which there's a Micah Parsons plan in place. And you don't see it until it happens, so you have to adjust as to the way they're going to use Micah Parsons. But the big thing was he talked about Micah and the way it kind of trickles down. And he did talk about Valentine playing this past week, Sunday night, and they used him in man matchups across from Metcalf, DK Metcalf. And he said one of the reasons we wanted to do that was because we wanted to press him, meaning off the line of scrimmage, depending on the call. But he said it was one of the best games he's had since he's been there, and that was disrupting DK Metcalf. And Carrington Valentine has kind of come into his own. And remember, we heard from Nate Hobbs yesterday, who was talking about, he's just got to keep his head down. He's got to keep trying. He's got to keep doing his thing. But remember, he's a guy that was displaced by Carrington Valentine. Nate Hobbs is now down on the depth chart. Javon Bullard is your nickelback, and Keyshawn Nixon's your other corner. So maybe Carrington, which, by the way, now I know you're paying Hobbs quite a bit of money, but if Carrington Valentine should pan out and begin to continue, or I shouldn't say begin, but continue to ascend, he's a 7th-round draft choice. I mean, when you start finding gems like that in the back end of your draft, that makes or breaks your draft. And so you got Carrington Valentine as a 7th-round draft choice that's now kind of taken over the starting spot over Hobbs, but it's still a very thin area. He also said that one of the things that he has is a very short memory, kind of like a closer in baseball. You can't worry about last night. You got to worry about just today. And said that's one of the things that's made him play, not necessarily the play prior. But the other thing he wanted to talk about, Quay Walker. Now, we had mentioned Quay Walker was not on the injury report on Wednesday, was on the injury report. Yeah, talked with Mike Clemens. But he talked about Quay Walker and the growth in the game has slowed down for him. He said he's the leader out there, and he's not seeing the game. He said he's now seeing the game so much quicker. He's actually calling out the runs and passes and recognizing them before the opponent even has a chance to run the play. When you've got that, combine that with the young guy that you've got in Edgerrin Cooper, and now you've got some good players up front. That's part of the reason that the defense specifically against the run has just been that good. So some interesting stuff coming from Jeff Hafley. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got more to get to. And like I said, we're going to be talking with Mike Clemens coming up here in just a little bit, about 45 minutes from now. We're going to hear from Rich Bisaccia when we come back. This portion of the program brought to you by Veterans America, the top VA lender for home buyers. If you're a military member, if you're a veteran or a family member thereof, they get you the most for your money. And they get you the most and the best deals when it comes to zero down payments or looser credit requirements, governmental guarantees. There's so many possibilities. Get a hold of our buddy James Mercado directly. 262-255-2000. It's 262-255-2000. Their whole staff, that's all they do, is top VA loans, and they're the best. I mean, I know there's credit unions and such that are out there that work on things like this, but they've got it down like nobody better. I mean, they're really, really good at what they do, and they can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that you've worked for, and they get you everything you have earned when you put your name on the dotted line to serve the country. Again, it's called Veterans America. Own the land you defend. Call them direct, 262-255-2000. It's 262-255-2000. Or just go to veteransamerica.com. More of the Bill Michaels Show live here in Marinette coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, the winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 60 months.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stopped the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number one had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing all drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows that keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a pan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Plus, with 0% interest for up to 60 months, don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Service versus supply, 7/1/2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. We are live. We're here in Marinette, Wisconsin. We're at the Lodge on Main. Enjoying ourselves. We talked about some Blues Brews and BBQ. And if you are in the West Salem, La Crosse area, and you're looking for barbecue, that's Big Boar. BOAR, BigBoarBBQ.com. That is BigBoarBBQ.com. And owned by 3 brothers, family owned. Love that. The whole story is fantastic. And if you're talking about supporting small businesses and really good food, that's our friends at Big Boar, BOAR, BigBoarBBQ.com. That is BigBoarBBQ.com. Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, met with the media to talk a little bit more about his special teams. Take a listen.
Condolences to George Atkinson's family. I don't know if you guys saw that. George Atkinson passed away this week. And I was very close to him at the Raiders, and he was a tremendous mentor to me when I moved into the head coach role at the end. We had a chance to meet every morning. For me, it's kind of heartbroken a little bit. And the last time I talked to him was right before training camp. He'd gone through some surgery procedures, and now he's lost. And he was a tremendous player in the National Football League, and was a longtime mentor to a lot of people there, and especially me. I'll be grateful forever for the wisdom I learned from him. That being said, I'll take any questions you guys may have.
It's always hard to start off after those pitch. It's always hard to ask.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, we have to celebrate the life as well, and I think we all get that. For me, to not say something about that, for as important as he was to me, I would have felt like crap. So, I'll take your questions. We'll be good.
What is the challenge that you faced with those guys this week?
Yeah, I think you guys have probably seen it. Their kickoff unit. They have really good coverage players, but the kicker's done a tremendous job with what everybody's calling those dirty kicks and the ability to put it on the ground, the ability to put it in the corners. So that's been the challenge for everyone that's played against them, and it's certainly going to be a challenge for us. You can only do so many different things to work on those catches, but as we've all understood here, when that ball hits the ground as a football, it can go anywhere, and that's what it's doing when you look at the film. So the biggest challenge would be to field the ball cleanly so we can at least get started. Because when the ball hits the ground, it's definitely an advantage for the kickoff team. They kind of get that click a little bit sooner than the return team does, and it gives them a chance to get going. And if you muff it at all, or can't get a clean catch on it, it certainly gives them the advantage again. So that's what we've been working on the most.
So does that mean lining up the returners closer, not farther from the goal line, I guess?
Well, we can be a little bit closer, hopefully, to the catch. And the other thing is, we've been kind of cheating a little bit the way we line up to try to get whoever we wanted to the ball at that particular time. So, yes, we're going to have to cheat our alignment, whether it's with width or whether it's with distance closer to the ball or further away from it so you can play the big hop. We're just going to try to figure it out as the game goes on. But there's a definite place that the ball seems to hit all the time or within a parameter where the ball seems to hit all the time for him. But it's really, again, we've had that comment about you want the ball to bounce back to you, go to the gym, and well, this is what it's doing. When it hits the ground, it's been going everywhere.
Rich, how do you feel like Brandon managed the leg on Sunday night, and how's he been dealing with it this week?
Yeah, I mean, he had a good week. I mean, really thought he had a good Thursday last week, and he had a good warm-up. I think we extended the line a little bit on the big one there, and he hit it good. Just came up a little bit short. I think we underestimated that open end of the stadium to some degree. I think the one certainly he would want back is before the half. I know he thinks for sure that should have been a gimme for him, but I feel like he's back to some degree and really better than he's been. I thought he had a real good day yesterday and anticipating him having a good day tomorrow.
Good with it. Excuse me. You good with his kickoffs too, as well in that?
Yeah, I thought he did a great job in the kickoffs in the Pittsburgh game. I thought the kickoff team played really well. We looked at drive starts to start the second half was the 26, and then it went to 23 and to 23. And our kickoff team did a great job covering. A lot of it had to do with Brandon placed the ball. He caused the one muff. A little bit of he hit a drive kick of his own. Put one over in the right corner was really good for us. So, hopefully keep that going in the same direction, and hopefully our kickoff team can play well again.
What's the loss of Neiman for you? Was in a lot of tackles.
And had a lot of different skills that we could, we moved him all over the place. We put him in a lot of different positions, not only on kickoff, but in punt return and what we were doing on kickoff return as well. And so we'll see how long and when, but it'll be a loss for this week for sure.
Rich, when Romeo takes that pause after he catches the punts to survey things, I know Jaden's done that in the past. I'm assuming that's a personal preference over a coaching point, or do you guys coach certain guys?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I think sometimes his pause is a little long, but I thought he probably had his best game. He had the 111-yard return, and then we got the penalty on the other one. We had a drive start, I think, at the 40, and then it ended up going to the plus 45. So those were two big drive starts that we got points off of. So, but I also think, he's a work in progress. I think after every practice rep and after every game rep, he's getting a little bit better. He sees it a little bit differently. And I thought that was his best look coming in. He's done a really good job in the red zone, and continually I get better. And I know he's enjoying doing it. So,
is the pause just to let the play come to you and see where?
The pause at times, if those guys don't settle on the hands or they can get even with you, and they can actually run by the play. So there's a time for it, and there's a time to get it as fast as you possibly can. And I think he's trying to work on when to do which one.
It's supposed to be windy, rather windy on Sunday. That's a big factor for you guys. How do you plan for it? How do you practice for it?
We have pretty windy practice facility over here on both sides, and but it's the same for both on game day. I've always said that. The last time we played at home was a very difficult win. I remember us, talking about it. We ended up fourth quarter was to our advantage to some degree when the wind flipped. But it's just something that you're expected to play in when you come to Lambeau. It's certainly different in our stadium than it is on the practice field because of the bowl. But it's the same for both, and hopefully we do a good job figuring it out.
Is Pittsburgh the hardest place to kick in the league?
I think you'd have to ask kickers. Boswell seems to have conquered that stadium pretty well. He's done a tremendous job for a long time. A lot of respect for the way he plays. And I would say that one open end where we kicked the big one in and was short has been difficult in the past. But I do think Brandon came back in the second half and, played pretty well, with his kicks. And Bosworth, like I said, has seemed to have conquered that stadium. But notoriously, it's been an issue for players to go in there and be successful on any given Sunday.
That too, or is that just a...
For us, the only guy can go by is the way the field was this particular game, and it was good enough. It was good enough to kick in. Now there was a bunch of different surface structures with the Pitt had just played on the game 3:30 before, so there was a lot of divots in there. And if you look at the end zone film of the kickers, both of them have changed the spots according to some of the divots that were in the ground. So that was a little bit of an issue to some degree, but I think it didn't have any bearing on really the kicks from either kicker. It's just a matter of they have to move the spot a little bit to get where they can get good grass for the plant foot.
There you go. That's Rich Bisaccia talking to the media, and the kicking game obviously came into play a little bit in the game against Pittsburgh. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We're broadcasting live here in Marinette, Wisconsin, getting ready for the weekend that is Blues Brews and BBQs. Blues Brews and BBQs when it comes to some Hall of Fame blues music, which we heard from Joe Moss here a little bit earlier today, and obviously some really good pit masters that are going to be serving up the barbecue this weekend. It is a hell of an event, and it happens tomorrow. Go to fishonmarinette.com and click on the events page to see all the details and all the information about this weekend's big party up here in Marinette, Wisconsin. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more. Don't forget, coming up here in the next hour, Mike Clemens is going to join us live and take us kind of the rest of the way from Lambeau Field. And a lot of questions that I have, a lot of things I want to ask Mike about. So really interested in certain things regarding this team, some of the injuries, obviously, and then them getting ready for the game upcoming on Sunday to take on the Carolina Panthers for noon kickoff at Lambeau. Our friends at Stenny's remind you, whether you're going to Lambeau, you're going to go see the Bucks, you're going to go see Marquette, the Admirals, any of the concerts downtown, or even go to see the Badgers, they're running shuttles to everything. That's Stenny's, 2nd and National in Walker's Point, also on Watertown Road in Pewaukee. That's the Lake Country location. Both locations tonight have big costume contests going on for Halloween, and I am going to actually be at the Stenny's at 2nd and National in downtown Milwaukee tonight. We'll see you down there about 9 o'clock this evening, and their contest gets underway, I think, about 9:30. So if you're going to be out and about, you're all dressed up, you want to jump in, win yourself some big cash and prizes and such, we'll see you down at Stenny's 2nd and National in Walker's Point. As they say, you should be here. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
You want in on the autumn action at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee? Of course you do. With $300,000 in prizes, who wouldn't? November 1st through the 20th, play with your rewards card for entries. Thursdays, pick your win from a prize board. At the end of the night, all leftover prizes go to one winner in a jackpot drawing. Autumn action. It's going down at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
We're live here in Marinette, Wisconsin. Here at the Lodge on Main. Formerly Ironworks, by the way. Formerly Ironworks. But we're here for another hour. Mike Clemens is going to be coming up in the next hour. We'll talk with him. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Winter the Doors to Wisconsin. PellaWI.com. And they have 0% right now for 60 months when it comes to financing, whether it's the home beautification or the economical factor, the safety factor in your home, the installation, the different lines, things to fit your lifestyle, your budget, your look. Pella's got something for everybody. Go to PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com. Again, PellaWI.com. Really, really good stuff. I just kind of going through a lot of this different stuff because we have not had a chance to catch up on some of our text messages and stuff. This is out of the 715 when he was talking about Matthew Golden a little bit earlier. He said, my point is, don't be a me guy when he's clearly making some of the mistakes. These mistakes are easily correctable, but until he has earned the trust and the chemistry with J-Lo, he has to put his head down and just keep doing the 111. I agree with that. The mistakes are few and far between. I don't necessarily think that's costing him. I think that look, he's going to have good games. And Grant, why do you think there's so much pressure on Matthew Golden? Do you have an idea? I mean, because I've never seen, like, even when Randall Cobb came into the organization, there was a lot of anticipation for Randall Cobb because he was so good at Kentucky. But then I don't know of any other. There wasn't a lot of pressure on Javon Walker. There wasn't a lot of pressure on Greg Jennings. Why is there so much pressure on Matthew Golden to be great right now?
Again, from what I've heard from listeners and people on my show, I don't think the pressure, the frustration is with him. I think it's with the way the Packers are using him. And that's even like in the beat. Like, I think that was what was behind that exchange LaFleur had with reporters the other day. And I think part of that is because he was the first round pick in forever and they want to see him succeed. And,
right.
They want those numbers to pop. But I think it's more of a Packers usage thing than a Golden thing himself.
Are we fans too quick to declare somebody a bust?
Yes.
Because I think so. Some guys, look, I know first-round draft choices have come with a level of expectation, and rightfully so, because they are considered some of the most talented guys in that particular draft. It takes guys a couple of years to get it. We just heard Jeff. He's finally seeing And that was another area of concern. We heard Jeff Hafley talking about it a little bit earlier. So we'll get into that discussion as well. And I'm sure there's going to be some other things. Micah Parsons obviously talking, and we'll get into all of that. We'll discuss a lot of different things. Mitchell said, anybody who thinks Golden will be a bust is an idiot, period. I'm not saying he's a bust. Just so you know, because I think, first of all, you're only, 8-9 games into the season. And you can't even judge a guy's rookie season yet on that. I mean, you can't do it. I think what people expected was he was going to be a guy that was just going to be on go patterns and blow the lid off defenses and catch balls downfield. And he was going to be the next coming of Christian Watson, and it was going to be like just watching papers fly behind these guys as they tore down each sideline of the football field and just open up some massive downfield passing capability for the Packers. And it's just, they like explosive plays, but that's not how you come into the league, I guess might be the best way to put it. So I don't know why people are worried about it. I get it, I guess, because you'd like to see more. But I'm good with the growth. The only person that may be frustrated with the growth might be Matthew Golden, other than some unrealistic fans. But I'm not concerned about Matthew Golden at all. I think if I had to put a level of concern right now, offensively speaking, for the Packers, I'd probably have more concern about the calf muscle and the ability to run the football with Josh Jacobs right now than I would about Matthew Golden and the ability to throw the football downfield. And I guess the next question I would have is, if you've got a concern about the passing game, specifically in Matthew Golden, do you then have an overall concern about the passing game in general? Or is it just about Matthew Golden? You know, because they're fine. If you look statistically speaking at where the Packers are in many different categories, they're good. I don't know why there's so much angst over this. It's kind of like when people got all crazy about trap game this week. And the next thing you know, people are just losing their minds. I'm like, I don't necessarily get it, because if I don't talk about the trap game because of what happened with Cleveland. So you had to learn your lesson. Beyond that, I don't care. It's not a big deal, but some people are just losing their minds this week. Maybe, Grant, is it after a win, and it's specifically after a decent win in which maybe some people like myself, I had a little bit of angst about the team going into Pittsburgh and getting themselves a win. Is it just coming out of a game like that where you don't have a ton to nitpick, that people are just starting to look for something to nitpick?
Well, Bill, that would imply that human beings just prefer to be upset, and that can't possibly be true, right? I mean, look, we nitpick. It's what we do. And even the Packers beat with Matt LaFleur earlier this week was like asking about target share, and Matt LaFleur's like, well, what do you guys want? We've won, 3 in a row coming out of a bye, so I get it. I don't even know if frustration is the right word. I want to see Matthew Golden have a nice game because all the data says he's getting open and he's positioning himself to be in a great spot in this offense. The ball just hasn't found him yet.
Right.
So that's kind of, I'm just waiting for the ball in the offense and whatever matchup to find.
Right.
him.
And here's the other thing to think about, and God forbid it happens, but there's always injuries, specifically to wide receivers at some point where somebody's going to miss a game or two, or we saw like Jaden Reed's going to miss a good portion of the season. Your opportunity is going to come, and it's how you respond when your opportunity comes. It's what you make. Because if you look at Golden's numbers, his targets to his catches are almost like 95%, 97%. I mean, the games that he's had balls thrown to him, he's caught them all.
It's not like they're throwing the ball at him and bad things are happening.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're forcing and it's not working, or he's in the wrong spot. The ball just isn't going to him very often in the last few games.
This one is from Jack, who says, at least we don't have a guy like an Antonio Brown on our team. See, I don't equate him deleting his account to being petulant. I probably equate more of him deleting his account to just not wanting to hear it from the outside. I mean, and again, nobody knows because they haven't sat down and talked to him just yet. And that's why, I'll ask Mike Clemens if maybe he did. But I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that at all. And again, when you equate it to like other players that have spouted off socially, he didn't spout off. He just kind of got rid of it. I'm again, not worrying about it at all. Not worrying about it at all. Let's see here. What else do we have here for you? Eric says, hey, Unit, as much as I'd like to see a 31-10 victory for the Pack, I just can't get there. Carolina was blown out last week, and usually teams don't let that happen in multiple weeks. I see it more likely 27 27 or 31 Green Bay to 17 or 21 for the Carolina Panthers. And if you look at the season, we've had dominating wins, but garbage time scores, making the scoreboard look a little bit closer than it really is. Also, I'd like to see us sustain 4 full quarters, but I'm losing faith at the halfway point that the team is just going to play this way. Unfortunately, as always, you guys keep up the good work and enjoy the weekend. They're 5-1-1. And in reality, they've lost 1 game. Now, I heard somebody yesterday say they've lost 1 game, people, and Packers fans need to shut the F up. And my thought is, it's not about winning games. It's about how you look and how much reality there is to going deep into a postseason and a Super Bowl. I don't and that's where anxiety comes from, because, I know people say, well, look, Carolina would kill for the record of the Green Bay Packers. Cincinnati would kill for the record of the Green Bay Packers. Oakland or Las Vegas would kill for the record of the Green Bay Packers. That's fine. But that's not what the expectation is in Green Bay. The expectation is not to get 7, 8, 9 wins, just get over 500 and have a feel-good, season. It's about getting to a Super Bowl. They made the trade for Micah Parsons to say the window is open, therefore we want to go through the window. Maybe not once or twice. We want to get through it as many times as we can while that window is available for us. So, yeah, they're 5-1, but they haven't looked good getting to 5-1. Not consistently anyway. They've looked good in quarters, they've looked good in halves, but they haven't been consistent. And I think that's where the most frustrating thing is, because what you want to see, fans want to see out of their team, is a consistently good team. And I'm not even saying you have to have beatdowns, but a consistently good team that's playing good football and not letting the little mistakes either hurt them or make scores in games closer than they should be. So you're looking for the team to continue to progress. Where I say, cautionary tale-wise, to people that want to see that, look at what the last 2 games have presented. Arizona, they checked boxes. Pittsburgh, they checked boxes. They continue to play better, specifically over the last couple of weeks. They've eliminated a lot of the pre-snap penalties that they were getting early on in the season. Now, we still know penalties happen when it comes to special teams, and that's something like death taxes and a holding call. You know it's going to happen. But the penalties and the things that were driving us nuts, the attention to detail that was driving us nuts early in the season, that's not happening now. You're starting to see that be a little more eliminated. So I get where people say, well, they're 5-1-1. I think people are still mad about Cleveland and they're pissed about Dallas, because both of those games were right there. And that sticks with you, because you should be right now most likely sitting at 6-1 or 7-0 going into this particular game, because you let a couple of them slip away. That's where people get frustrated. But I think over the last 2 weeks, they played some pretty good football. Is that a decent synopsis, or am I missing something, Grant?
Yes, I think when you say, well, it's not about wins, it's about style point, I would argue, well, the first thing is about wins, and they've been checking that first box, so that's really good. I at some point need to see some style points. I don't need to see it every week. I think if they can, again, this Sunday is such a huge opportunity. If they can blow doors this Sunday, this last month is awesome. You get a 6 or 7 out of 10 win over Cincy. Good, not great. You get a nice comeback in Arizona, maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10.
And a road win.
I think in a road win. Yep. Against a team that's better than everyone thinks. Like Arizona's got some players. Their record could easily be better. And then let's say an 8 out of 10 type win in Pittsburgh. Really good, but not quite perfect. If you cap off the month and your 4th game now out of the bye before Philly with a 10 out of 10 win, this is an awesome month. And your season's really trending the right way. We don't have that 10 out of 10 win yet. And at some point, I would like to see that. I think this Sunday would be perfect.
Out of the 715, he says, I feel we don't ever blow anyone out or get comfortable leads. We just play to their level. I hope I'm wrong coming into this week. And that's kind of the consensus thread that I've been reading today. It's not about necessarily winning the game. It's about winning the game. And if you can blow a team out, blow a team, which, again, goes back to what you said about style points. But I went through all the scores over the last couple of weeks. We started looking at them. You look at a team like even Philadelphia, going back to last year where they were so dominant, they only had like 3 blowouts the entire season. The rest of the games were relatively close. So, and by that, I mean, it wasn't like a 20-point lead. It was maybe, between 10 and 13 where they were beating teams. And if the Packers get a 14-point win, a 2-touchdown win, or a 2-touchdown and a field goal win, a 17-point win, that's a hell of a job. If they can get that type of a win this weekend, but again, a 13.5-point spread. If they get a 13-point win and they win the game 23-10, decent win, not great, but decent win. If they get a 33-20 score, you're kind of disappointed because you gave up 20, but you put 33 up on the board, which means your offense is consistently pretty good. You're kind of thinking, okay, maybe they had a complete game. And all their wins, they've scored 27 or more. The first game that they didn't score 27 during a win was against the Steelers this past week in the 35-25 game. So they've been able to put points up, and you just keep thinking, okay, whether or not they can put them up in the first half or the second half, if they can do it consistently and play for, we'll say, 3 quarters, you're talking about a team that should be able to consistently put up 30-plus points, and a defense right now that's playing pretty good, keeping the opponent around 20. That's a lot of good wins. Whether you're winning by 40 or winning by 30, that's a lot of good wins. And I don't know how to appease fan bases other than just to say, put it this way. Nobody's going to be completely happy until they've won a Super Bowl. And even then, there's going to be a handful of naysayers that are going to say, well, they got lucky. See if they can do it again next year. So I'm finding out more and more that complaining just seems to be the natural thing to do for whatever reason. And it goes back to maybe, Grant, when you and I were talking about setting yourself up for failure. So that way you can say, see, I told you so, and the jubilation of actually winning is that much higher.
Yes.
People just love to bitch and complain. I mean, holy mackerel.
Well,
yeah, go
look,
ahead.
if you're going to say, well, this team's never going to win a championship, you're probably right, because only one team can win it.
Right.
And I think some people like to do that just so then they can say, well, I told you. It's like, okay, all right, sure. If that's what gets your rocks off, I guess, then go nuts. I'm not telling you to be a blind fanboy, but
right.
Man, they've won how many games now in a row? And I think they'll win again on Sunday, hopefully a little bit more impressively. Like, things are going pretty good right now, and it's Halloween. We haven't even turned the calendar to November yet.
Right.
There's so much time left for teams to grow in advance.
I just keep thinking that they're 2 kicks away from being undefeated.
Sure.
Maybe 1 play from having a legitimate loss, but they're 2 kicks away from being undefeated. And I don't think at this point in time, if you would, and again, when I went through the record or the schedule at the beginning, back in April, the end of April, and I said, this could possibly happen. And people said, you're an idiot. It's never going to happen. They're going to have 3 or 4 losses. And they're sitting here today, as long as they beat Carolina, going into that Philadelphia game, you're going to be 6-1-1. I think we'd all would have taken that with only 1 legitimate loss on your docket. All right, let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, taking us the rest of the way, Mike Clemens is going to join us. And Mike is brought to you by our friends at the Bay Motel. Bay Motel and Family Restaurant right there. Quiet, cozy, comfortable in Green Bay, just a mile from Lambeau Field. Home-style cooking 7 days a week. That's the Bay Motel right there in Green Bay. Call them direct, 920-494-3441, 920-494-3441. They bring you Mike Clemens each and every week. Again, that's BayMotelGreenBay.com. That's BayMotelGreenBay.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Truck drivers, the holiday rush is here. Take advantage by becoming a Schneider driver. By driving for one of America's busiest carriers, you'll stay busy during the holiday season and throughout the new year. Plus, as a Schneider driver, you'll have access to top quality driver support and newer equipment spec'd with the latest safety and comfort features that drivers want. Don't wait. Get a jump on 2026 by exploring jobs in your area today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Since you didn't know what hat you had on, do you not know what your Halloween costume's going to be?
It's Halloween, huh? Got a big discussion with this with my assistant Daryl. I was like, I don't give a shit if it's Halloween. All right, we're trying to win a game. Period. Well done, Wallace. Yeah, it's a Friday in the National Football League. That's what day it is.
Did the Monster Man.
Doesn't give a blank about whether or not it's Halloween. And to be honest with you, I kind of applaud him for the answer. It doesn't matter. Come on, man. Who asked that damn question? Joining us on the hotline, our guy, Mike Clemens, standing by, brought to you by the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Bay Motel, quiet, cozy, comfortable, just a mile from Lambeau Field. Call them direct, 920-494-3441, 920-494-3441. And going back now to the hotline, our guy, Mike Clemens, standing by. Michael, how you doing, pal?
Okay, I wish I had a Halloween costume party to go to tonight. You know, I haven't done that since I was a kid. I love dressing up as a Batman or Superman when I was, 7, 8 years old. What was your favorite costume?
1 year, my mom put a box around me and put Reynolds wrap around it, and I went out as a robot.
That's good stuff.
I wore like
That's
half a
good
refrigerator box and a bunch of stuff around my legs and shoe boxes around me, and we duct taped, or not duct tape, but taped Reynolds wrap all over it, and I went out silver, and that was it.
Sure, like the robot on Lost in Space or something like that.
Right, exactly.
So maybe Matt LaFleur is sensitive about costume parties because there was one in 2020 where, that cool classic car place they've got in downtown Green Bay. I've been talking,
Yeah.
You and I should go there sometime.
Right.
So the Packers are holding a Halloween party, their costume party. That was in the fall of the COVID year. And then the following week, Aaron Rodgers came down with COVID and couldn't play in the Chiefs game. So maybe he's got bad memories like that. Now, the Packers did have a costume party at the end of training camp. And then what we found out about that was, LaFleur shaved his beard. And so someone said during the press conference, "So you shaved the beard?" He goes, "Yeah, we had a little costume party for the end of camp."
Right.
Oh, okay. And who did you go as? Burt Reynolds, he said.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
I didn't get into it today with him but I've been meaning to ask, how does a 22-year-old rookie know who Burt Reynolds was, right?
Right.
Did he go Burt Reynolds in The Longest Yard, Smokey and the Bandit, Celebrity Burt Reynolds, by Norm Macdonald on SNL with the big stupid yellow hat?
Right.
I'll have to see if I can get the coach to tell me about that. But Micah Parsons named NFC Defensive Player of the Month. And I dug up some of this tape from the post game in Pittsburgh Sunday night because he was having some fun out there with Aaron Rodgers going back and forth. He sacked Rodgers for the first time in his career. Then later in the game, Rodgers and the Steelers had the ball like on their own 15. And Micah comes around on their left side. He's chasing Aaron from behind, and Aaron quickly gets rid of the ball. And so after the play, Micah goes to him and says, "Did you know I was coming?" He goes, "Yeah, I could hear the crowd."
Really? Okay.
And Micah said, "Well, that's some veteran blank there, man." Well, there was all those Packer fans in Pittsburgh Sunday night, right? So, and then he said that Aaron was joking on the field, like, "Hey, why don't you buy my house back in Green Bay?" So here's Micah telling that story.
The one where I was like honking him down,
And I was like, this close to getting on. And then he was like, I heard the crowd. I was like, that's some that shit right there. I was like, because I'm going, so I'm like, crowd, shh. He's great to play. And he told me to buy his house.
You know, Mike, I was listening to the Jeff Hafley portion of the presser a little bit earlier, and I found it interesting. And I because it's going to happen, we know that. But Micah Parsons is dealing with game plan. And as Jeff Hafley said, you know, it takes a lot to be a really good pass rusher because every game they have to deal with, there is a Micah Parsons plan in place. Every time he's on the field, there is a Micah Parsons plan in place that they have to figure out and see the personnel and deal with, and he has to deal with immediately, whether it's double team, triple team, single, whatever, and where they have to position him on the field.
And I think what's so great, what I keep on, learning about Micah Parsons week after week since he's been here this season, is the student of the game. One of the things that is most impressive, I mean, we're talking about this yesterday after he gets named NFC Defensive Player of the Month. He's leading the league with, or he's one of the leaders in the league with 6.5 sacks. He says, I got a lot of great training coming out of Penn State in Dallas with the Cowboys, and like Coach George Edwards or Dan Quinn, the great defensive coach, now the head coach of the Commanders, or Mike Zimmer from the Bengals, and then head coach of the Vikings. One of the things I thought that Mike McCarthy always does is sometimes he kind of recycles these coaches, right? Mm-hmm. And some of this goes all the way back to the 49ers. In the 70s, there was a guy named Dick Nolan who was a coach of John Brody and that era. His son Mike became a head coach. Mike hires a Mike McCarthy out of New Orleans in 2005 when they got Alex Smith at quarterback. And so then later, Mike brings him back when he's the head coach in Dallas. Didn't work out. Mike Nolan was kind of burned out by then. But that coach, George Edwards, it was his linebacker coach he hired, taught all this stuff first year to Micah Parsons. Like, you've got to pay attention to what offenses are doing in terms of their pass protection. You've got to know what their scheme is as well as they do. And so Micah says that's the key to being a good pass rusher is understanding what the offensive line is trying to do to pass rush people.
There's not too many rushers that understand systems. And, like I said, I've been extremely blessed because I've been around some really great coaches. From Coach Edwards, my rookie year, he used to make me sit in after work and watch film extra hours about reading slides and protections and how teams are going to manipulate. How they start is how they're going to end. They just don't want to – they're going to try to confuse you. To Coach Zim, to teach me about protections even more to the greater magnitude of with the 6-man double Mabel and all that other stuff. When you understand how teams are going to protect and how they're going to come out, one thing that we have to our advantage is they have to communicate. They're in their game plan, they're like, where's number one in lining? If he's outside, we can motion, but when I go inside, it's like, now which way can he go? Is he going right? Is he going left? And I can dictate that because I know where it's going, how they're going to try to approach me. They want 2 people on me. And if they're going to do that, guess what? Other guys are going to come free. Other guys are going to be one-on-one. And if they don't, that means I'm going to be one-on-one. So, I mean, when you kind of understand the game at a really high level and you can manipulate the game the way you want to, you can really have a lot of fun, a lot of success. And we've been having a lot of success with it when it comes to Bengals. We had success with it. Last week we had success with it. And now we're just adding to that toolbox about how much more success we can have with it. So it's going to be where it's going to end, and this is just the beginning because we just started doing it. It's going to be really fun.
Mike, it wasn't until I heard the Q&A with Micah Parsons that it dawned on me, and I heard the question. Like, he's the defensive player of the month, and they only had 3 games. I mean, normally you get the defensive player of the month or an offensive player of the month because you played all 4 games spectacularly. In 3 games, he did what nobody else was doing.
Well, when your show is streamed on YouTube, the Bill Michaels Show, I like to read those chats to always get the input from your listeners.
Yeah.
And one of your listeners had posted and this dude gets it in a month where they had a bye week.
Right.
He still has enough stats to be named NFC Defensive Player of the Month. And so I'm the one that asked that at Parsons yesterday about that.
Yeah, that was impressive. I was like, damn, dude. I even looked back and said, what games did we play? Like, it kind of threw me off too. Like I was a little bit in shock, but we just ready. I just feel like I'm really getting into a groove and rhythm right now, I'm excited to go play again.
Mike, the benefit that he has also provided has been for Rashawn Gary, JJ, Engabari. I mean, the entire front has felt it because of just merely his presence.
Right. I mean, you see these offenses having to take account for Micah Parsons for number one, and where's he going to be? Where's he going to apply the pressure? And like that tackle for the loss that JJ Enagbari had, number 55, against the Steelers, just dropped the guy, behind the line of scrimmage. And so, yeah, I mean, when you bring in a Micah Parsons, the numbers go up for everybody. Rashawn Gary, JJ Enagbari, on the defensive line, Carl Brooks getting pressure up the middle. Colby Wooden or Devontae Wyatt now back in the lineup, and Mike and LaFleur talked about that.
Certainly, he gets a lot of attention in regards to protections, and a lot of times he's defeating a chip, and then they might even slide to him. So, which opens up opportunities for everybody else. But I do think Half's done a really good job in DC of trying to get creative in terms of, I mean, you've seen him rush inside, outside. So it does put a little bit of a stress on the offense in regards to you're not quite sure where he's going to align. So it adds some layers to that. But you can't do that if you don't have confidence in the other guys to be able to win their one-on-ones. And I think, all those guys have been doing a great job. RG, Devontae Wyatt, KB, Colby, JJ, Van Ness. We feel pretty confident that we got a lot of good players in there that can all play off one another. And I think the other thing that we've been doing a decent job of is when called, our linebackers are doing a good job of rushing the quarterback as well.
Mike, I was going to ask you because I know some people are asking the questions as well, but one of the guys that popped up on the injury report was Quay Walker. Obviously, we're still looking for Marshawn Lloyd, but Quay Walker pops up on the injury report with a calf injury. Have you heard any updates on that?
Yeah, one of the guys that you want to stop, this Panther running back, Rico Dwallo, that they picked up from the Cowboys with that great revenge game when they played Dallas earlier this year, a win for them. Had 8 carries for 54 yards last week. Yeah, last night the injury report comes out in Quay Walker, your inside linebacker, your guy with the radio helmet. He had to drop out of practice yesterday with a calf injury, and LaFleur was asked about that today.
He was feeling a little something, so we were a little bit cautious with him. But the plan and goal is for him to go out there today and just see how he feels.
How much have you seen him grow over the last 16 months, 18 months, whatever it is?
He's done a hell of a job, and I think that's his play speaks for itself. But just in all the things that you guys don't always get a chance to see, there's a reason he was voted as captain. And I think that's even given him more confidence to get out and lead. Just he's had so many great examples of what it takes and being a great leader. I think last week in that game, just the mental toughness and poise that it took not to retaliate in the situation. I thought that was as critical as anything. But it was a great example of just his leadership and how much growth he's shown course of these 4 years.
There you go. That's Matt LaFleur talking about Quay Walker and his growth. Mike Clemens joining us in Green Bay. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We're broadcasting live here in Marinette, Wisconsin at the Lodge on Main if you want to swing by and say hi. Also, don't forget, coming up this weekend, the Green and Gold postgame show comes up immediately following the Packers and the Panthers this weekend. We're going to be live at Burkle's Sports Bar from 3 to 5. If you want to come by and say hi, we'll be bringing you the postgame show. But again, the Green and Gold postgame show immediately after every Packer game. Your calls, postgame audio, reaction, analysis, Mike Clemens in the locker room, all of that coming up. The Green and Gold postgame show on many of these network stations and many of our platforms as well. Stay tuned. More with Mike Clemens coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
All right, what a gift. Got a nice cool day of practice. Expecting similar conditions in Green Bay this weekend. So we got to get out there and run around and for the guys to feel it. And went right back to work, and we're excited for this weekend.
Welcome back. Dave Canales, head coach, Carolina. Those are the words, and they're getting ready for the after Halloween game that is coming up this weekend. Lambeau Field, noon kickoff. Carolina Panthers are coming to town. Packers looking to continue the winning ways and then get ready for the Monday night fair against the Philadelphia Eagles coming to town after that. We go back to Green Bay. Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline. And Mike, Carolina, at least I guess they're breathing a sigh of relief. Whenever you start showing up in November, you could get 20 degrees or 30 degrees and winds are howling or snow, and it's not going to be that bad at Lambeau Field this weekend.
No, last forecast I saw was 51 degrees, and that's what they were celebrating in Charlotte. It wasn't 81 degrees. They had a 61-degree day to practice and get a little bit more feel like cooler temperatures. So, this Panthers franchise, they went to the Super Bowl with John Fox. Ron Rivera was a great coach that got into the playoffs, but then they made a change. And then they had that scandal with the owner that had to sell the team. And this Dave Tabor guy, takes over as the owner, buys him for $2.5 million. He's a hedge fund guy, and he's like firing coaches one a year. Perry Fuel was a great defensive coordinator for the Giants. It took them to a Super Bowl. He got a year. Matt Rule, who's now coaching Nebraska, was there 2 or 3 years. Steve Wilkes, Frank Reich. They went through 6 coaches in 5-6 years. Now they've settled on Canales. Canales is a Pete Carroll guy out of Seattle Seahawks, an offensive guy. His time there and a little bit of time with the Buccaneers. And he seems to be more of a level-headed dude. Now he's, trying to get Bryce Young back into the fold. A guy that Aaron Rodgers, I remember, Aaron said that kid could be a really good quarterback when he got drafted. And they had to face him in that game. So, you talk to Canales about the backup quarterback, Andy Dalton, something about a thumb injury in the, early in the game last week in their loss to the Bills. And so Canales talking about that situation last week, and Dalton suffering through that.
Yeah, it was early. It was in the first series of the game. I can tell he injured his thumb really early in the game. He was a stud. He gutted it out and was able to be out there and allow us to finish the game that way. And, just really blew up on him after the game, and we got imaging on it and did our process over the last couple of days. So we got to, see where he's at, going into this weekend and make decisions from there.
Does that affect his play at all, do you know?
Could be. I would imagine it's on his throwing side thumb, on his right hand. And, I just love when guys like he knew this is important for the team, and he wanted to be out there for his guys to be able to, give us the rhythm, to give us a chance to do it, to win. And so I just applaud Andy for that. And, he gutted it out, and there was a real finding on there.
Mike, it reminded me when Favre broke his thumb. Favre couldn't, he still went out and gutted it out and tried to play with a broken thumb, and he had a busted thumb. It was tough for him to let the ball spin off his fingers and really grip the football with a busted up thumb.
And he still beat the Raiders in that unbelievable game in '99, so that they could still hold their heads up, that they could run a team without Mike Holmgren. It was the Ray Rhodes year. But no, his hand looked like it had been closed in a car door.
Right.
And that's the thing about this. Andy Dalton, started out as a starter in this league. Now he's a backup. But these guys that get 34, 35, and they're still so desperate to get out there. So Bryce Young, their star quarterback, has been out a couple of weeks with this ankle injury. Andy's in that game. You're going to hear Cassidy Hill. Remember, we used to have Cassidy on our show when she was a reporter. She's out there in Charlotte now. So you hear her talk to Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, Bill, he broke his damn thumb in the second drive of the game last week in that 40-9 loss to the Bills, and talked about it.
During the game, I don't think they knew about it. And then as the game went on, I had mentioned something, and then we got looked at after the game. So. There wasn't much to really talk about early on. And then, as the game went on, obviously it continued to swell up and different things. And the next, after the images and all that kind of stuff, I knew exactly what it was.
Do you think it affected your play at all?
I'm not going to, use that as an excuse for anything. Obviously, I'd love for my thumb to not be broken, but, it is what it is.
It's broken?
It is, yes.
You broke it early and played the whole game with a broken thumb.
There you go. Played the whole game with it busted up.
I did.
Yeah, I did. I did. And, you can almost hear the pride swelling up a little bit saying, hey, I didn't let a busted thumb let me off the hook, and I'm certainly not going to use it as an excuse. But, now you look at Bryce Young, Mike, and that franchise chose him. They thought he would be one of those up-and-comers, and he's played some good games. He just hasn't had that consistency that they were hoping to get out of a quarterback. And now when you look at his career, you're kind of sitting there going, is he a guy you want to continue to hang on to? Is he a guy that gets it? Is he a guy that's ascending? Or is this all you're going to get out of him?
Well, and it's another one of these things where there's a quarterback with talent, And of course, he goes first to a team with a losing record. After you make the decision to fire Ron Rivera, and then you keep on hiring new coaches every year and new offensive coordinators, and then you wonder why your young quarterback is struggling. And actually, LaFleur was asked, what was the turning point you think where Bryce Young now started, winning football games? And he says, I know, it was against us, Christmas Eve, 2023, and we were up, but, Bryce brought those guys back in the second half. They put up 20 points in the second half. It was not a good game for Joe Barry, defensive coordinator, and Green Bay held on to win 33-30 over Charlotte or over Carolina that day. And LaFleur talked about that game.
I really think the turning point, you could argue, was a couple years ago in our game when he went off in the second half. They battled back, and we made a couple plays down the stretch to win the game, but that kind of got him going. I know he had a little setback, whatever, maybe last year, and then he really got going.
Mike, now the question is, because Andy Dalton's got the busted thumb, Bryce Young has been dealing with an ankle injury. Does Bryce Young feel like he's going to be able to do this thing, or, they're going to have to rely on somebody else?
Yeah, the guys out there in Charlotte asked Bryce Young now, he's been on the practice field this week. Does he think he'll be ready Sunday for Green Bay?
Yeah, feel good. Again, obviously I'm going to default to the doctors. I'm a competitor. I want to go out there and be with my brothers. So I'm doing everything I can. Just want to go out there and compete. And then, at the end of the day, the doctors will make a decision.
Mike, I do want to flip over to the Packers defensively real quick, because there's some interesting stuff we were talking about earlier. Obviously, the return, with Micah Parsons coming in, things have changed. But Devontae Wyatt, when he came back from injury, it was a noticeable change. You got Colby Wooden and company. Stackhouse now a little bit nicked up. But Carl Brooks, all of a sudden, there's a nickname floating around, and Carl Brooks's play has ascended, all because this front four is able to get home without having to worry about blitzing either, Quay Walker or somebody else off the edge, or even Edgerrin Cooper. But the guys up front are kind of getting it done.
Well, and I think part of this goes back to last fall and into free agency. And T.J. Slayton got a deal with the Bengals, and Goody was only going to pay so much. The Bengals gave him a 2-year deal, but T.J. Slayton got praised for being that big body guy on the inside, a 3-technique guy over guards or inside tackles. And then you have this weird out of nowhere, really, Jerry Jones is willing to trade Micah Parsons, except, the price is you got to give away Kenny Clark. And it's like, oh, God. But obviously, Goodykins felt at the end of the day what I see from Carl Brooks, like you mentioned, or, Colby Wooden. Those two guys have been there now a couple of years, learning the ropes, learning how to play off these guys. And so Colby had a nice game against the Steelers the other night. And Micah Parsons told us, we got a nickname for him. We call him the General. One of the assistant coaches nicknamed him that. And so we asked Colby yesterday, why are the guys now all calling you the General in the locker room?
I love the General. Did he tell you why he called him the General? What did he say? I'd love to hear his explanation.
Because the General is the heart of the run defense, as the
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I think it's bigger than that. I mean, if you guys have been around him, right? He's got this energizing presence and personality, and it's upbeat, and how hard he plays, and the role that he's, all of a sudden himself finds him in. He's just this relentless guy who always has a smile on his face that you kind of want to follow him. And it's good to have guys like that. And it's cool to hear Micah Parsons, compliment his teammates like he often has been doing, and giving a guy like that a nickname, but he's earned it. I'm proud of the way that he's played. I love being around him.
Yeah, I mean, Colby Wooden, obviously he's wearing the General with pride too, right, Mike?
Yeah, that was Jeff Hafley talking about it, and we talked to Colby about it. Yeah, he's kind of a shy guy, but once you get him going, he's pretty funny. We asked him, so why are the guys calling you the General?
Coach Vio nicknamed me that. I don't mind it. It's cool. Guys be going with it. General started off, that kind of stuff. But he said because the nose, the general of the defense, the nose, everything starts with the nose, like the run game, the pad, everything starts with the nose. So for me to be the nose, it's kind of looked at like the general of the defense, hold it down, and yeah.
The nose. You're the nose. You're the front of the face
Yeah,
of the defense. How about that, right?
Right, and I saw, left guard Aaron Banks while we were standing around talking to Kobe. He stopped and stood at attention and saluted him. Because, he's walking by a general, man.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline. Let's do this. We'll step out, take one more break. Mike will take us the rest of the way. Don't go anywhere. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show up here in Marinette, Wisconsin at the Lodge on Main. We'll be back right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the snap and a timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, the winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 60 months.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stopped the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number one had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing all drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows that keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a fan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Plus, with 0% interest for up to 60 months, don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Service versus supply, 7/1/2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I don't give a shit if it's Halloween. All right. We're trying to win a game, period. Well done, Waller. Yeah, it's a Friday in the National Football League. That's what day it is.
It's a Friday in the National Football League. Friday up here at the Lodge on Main. I got to say hi to a lot of people. I want to say hi to Richard, Trent, Todd, Carol, and Ray were both here earlier. Also Joe and our friend wants to give a shout out. Datch wants to say hey to the Crazed Dogs that he talks to each and every week and tailgates with. Also our buddy Joseph was here, and so many good people that came by to say hi. We go back now down to Green Bay. And our guy, Mike Clemens, standing by. And, Mike, obviously this is a big game. You want to be able to win this game, get out of it, and then move on to the Monday night game. So I know there's been a lot of talk about trap games, but the Packers, one thing I'd like to see this week is the ability to run the football a little bit better now that you've got the offensive line intact for 3 straight weeks.
Well, it is an NFC conference game with the Panthers coming here. And, yeah, it could look like a trap game because the following week you're on Monday Night Football at home, thankfully, against the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending champions. And the schedule does get easier. Even though the Giants are 2-5 right now, Jackson Dart taking over at quarterback. There's more hope now in New York. And, you've lost dumb games to the Giants sometimes, right?
Right.
Like you lost a game in London, and then there was the Tony DeVito game out there at the Meadowlands.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Detroit Lions are right on your tail, man. They are right in your blind spot, just behind you in the NFC North. So, yeah, you need to bank these wins while you can, particularly when you're home. Now, one of the drawbacks of the great victory in Sunday night against the Steelers was the running game wasn't much. And, you wonder if before the trade line, would Gutekunst do something to pick up an extra, more talented running back? Because there's no word as to why Marshawn Lloyd's been out, except he's still going to be out a while.
Right.
In terms of, a burst. And then Josh Jacobs, dealing with this calf injury. So Bill Rabier from our sister station affiliate, The Fan in Green Bay, talked to Josh Jacobs about, working on that running game and how's he doing with the calf injury.
So, it's still a lot of things that we can clean up, and it's small, detailed things, but it's definitely a lot still out there.
So it's nothing major?
Nah, it's nothing major. Very fixable.
Okay.
Yeah.
For you physically, how you feeling?
I feel good, man. Flew around today. Really grateful that they letting me ramp up my reps, a little bit more this week. But, I've been good.
Is the calf issue a thing of the past?
Yeah, I haven't felt it. I got hit a lot in other places that's kind of bothering me, but not the calf. Calf feels pretty good.
Well, that's good news that the calf is good, not in other places, obviously, but the calf is good, at least getting better for the most part. And Mike, like you said, Marshawn Lloyd. Is Marshawn Lloyd nowhere to be found? Like he's not even in the locker room? Did we lose Mike?
Did we lose Mike?
I think we did.
Crap, see if I can get him back.
I heard it ding.
60 seconds. We're not done, Mike, yet. Don't think you can kick off early before the end of the show.
Hopefully nobody broke into the Bay Motel and clocked him on the head with a pillow full of oranges.
It's like No Country for Old Men. Yeah, I can see it now.
It's whenever you bring up Marshawn Lloyd, everything goes dark. So maybe we just don't talk about Marshawn Lloyd anymore.
No kidding.
Suddenly things just happen in a maybe his phone died too. Who knows? So regardless. Again,
I did, by the way, I did ask him off the air. I said, do you have anything on Marshawn Lloyd? Or is it just he's still hurt and that's it? And he said, yeah, there's no indication that anything's been going on or that there's been a re-aggravation. He's just still hurt. And that's all they know.
Yeah, because that's the thing is that the speculation is the worst because people wonder if there's something else going on, if there was something personal happening. But he just said it's just still hurt. So it's a long... which we thought it would be like a 3 to 4 week process and then coming back off of the PUP list after 4 weeks. And this has just been a really long process where they just haven't really seen him do anything, not back at practice or anything like that. So, unfortunately, but they haven't. If we can't get Mike, we can't get Mike. We only got about 30 seconds left to go in the program anyway.
He's texted phone line dropped. Thank you, boys. Have a good weekend. All right, Mike,
So
you owe us an extra 45 seconds next time you're on.
Mike didn't even give us a peace out or anything. Mike just, Mike dropped the mic and got the hell out. So I have a feeling Mike really had to go to the bathroom and just hung up. That's what I'm going to go with, that he had to do that. Hey, before we get out of here, I want to say thanks to Sean who brought us up here. And don't forget, they've got the barbecue Blues, or Blues Brews and BBQs this weekend. here in Marinette, Wisconsin. And it's if you want to get more information on it and come up and check it out, go to fishonmarinette.com. That's fishonmarinette.com. Go to the events page, and you can see all the information there. But thanks to everybody, the staff and management, everybody here at the Lodge on Main, which has been fantastic to us. Thanks to everybody that stopped by. And I got a bunch of names written down, and there's just so many people that came by to say hello. We appreciate it so much. I'll be at Stenny's tonight. Back. Don't forget the Green and Gold postgame show at Burkle's Sports Bar and Grill, right there a couple of blocks away from Lambeau Field, coming up Sunday after the game. So that's it. That's going to do it for the week. Until we talk again after the game coming up on Sunday, it's time for us to go.